on the screen. And then I did spend a little bit of time looking at your question beforehand, so that we have that here too. Okay. Mercury retrograde. Oh yeah, squaring your Sag Kazemi. Oh my god, Jupiter Kazemi too. That's so interesting because immediately what I thought of is like the general energy of when I was starting to tap into you is this like it's like that like EFT, not EFT, which is funny that came up, but like EMF, like it expands and it contracts and it expands and it contracts. And I feel like that's so much of kind of like the feeling that you're having right now too. So let me pull up your chart. Hello to my YouTube crew as we're getting situated here. And if you guys are new here, welcome. If you're not new here, like Gabe, welcome back. My name is Brenna. I'm a human design reader and astrologer that teaches you how to use these transits in real time to help you make your life a little bit better. So basically what we're talking about, Gabe, do you want me to read your whole question out loud, or would you prefer like I have it and I just touch on bits and pieces? I'll leave that up to your discretion as well. Okay, so basically, so we have this from the beginning. So you said, sorry for being so long, makes sense during Mercury retrograde. So my unconscious sun and earth in gate 6 and 36 respectively have been putting me through the ringer with my emotional waves. Also, our gate 55 and 22 transit where Mercury retrograde started is big with that too, because it's more pumping into the solar plexus. But they've been driving me nuts because my solar plexus is defined but completely unconscious. And that 6.2 is a hanging gate, and it bothers me so much because I feel like it's always reaching out and causing awkwardness with people, even though I don't want it to, because it's unconscious and is in a defined motor center. Then the other issue has been my 1034 channel. Yeah, because you don't have a direct gut to throat from the channel like with the 3020. It isn't like technically that is what makes you a manifesting generator, but it's like double circuitry, if that makes sense. It kind of goes through like a little bit of another lens. Being the only definition for my gene sacral, it's been throwing me off because I only ever feel like I know who I am and what I'm doing until after I'm already in the midst of taking action. That makes sense. Meanwhile, my conscious gate 5 south node and my unconscious gate 9 Uranus is constantly having me oscillating between rhythm routine and receiving revelations out of the blue. And that leads to neurospicy spiral of excitement and super hyper focus that causes MG time suck to occur. Eclipse energy has amplified this maddening oscillation. Yeah, yes, diagonally, exactly. Reminds you of Harry Potter, diagonally. So I'm reading for Gabe right now for those of you who have just tuned in. So Gabe is a manifesting generator. I actually wrote like notes and just kind of like everything that came to me. And hi, Seshu. I am dual streaming, so I have my TikTok crew that is over here. And then I'm recording simultaneously, so a little bit of funny inception. But let me write down, we're pretty much starting at the top of the hour, so 10 minutes for Orion Gabe. So the first thing that I wrote down and underlined was time and place. I think that what I see in you is that you're really at this precipice of extracting who you've been historically and who you're going into. What I see with a lot of people right now, and especially because I say like, I cannot do this work in the vacuum. I cannot be the only manifesting generator, human design reader that's out there. And I need folks like you to share your wisdom and knowledge. And it's in a multi-hyphenate way, right? Like you guys that know me over here on YouTube see different levels of my manifesting generator, aka multi-hyphenateness, than you guys do on TikTok, right? It's a balance of both. And with that, with all of the transits that are happening simultaneously and the placements that you're mentioning, it's that extraction of like choosing a unfamiliar heaven versus sticking with a familiar hell. And you're extracting that kind of identity of like almost like really being known for a lot of the things that have happened to you in the past. Afton, I'll read in a little bit, or I will answer that in a little bit. I'm just doing a 10-minute paid reading for Gabe here. Hello, Siddharth. Yes, you are. And so with that being said, Gabe, it's like you're really having that almost like identity crisis, hi Deanna, in figuring out where it is that you want to go and how you're going in that direction in a much more effective way. I see that it's like in your effort to connect, it's like you're throttled where like the tectonic plates are drifting apart and it's starting to have you jump. You have to jump to the side that you know that you're going towards, right? Like taking that true leap of faith to say, I know that I deserve better and I want to be seen. Because listen, you have such luminescent, you're a Cancer rising and you're a Sagittarius sun. I literally have had 3 different people over the course of the last six months explain Sagittarius placements as like the true celebrities of the zodiac. Zara Larson, we can go down the list of all these people that are Sagittarians that are literally performers in the spotlight that have their team around them that help refine their image. And you know, as me being a talent manager in New York for so many years, like that's kind of written in the way that I interact with all of you guys that are looking to build your businesses and become spiritual entrepreneurs of some varietal, right? So when I'm looking at a chart like that, I think that when I see the way that you communicate in comments and workshops and things like that, it's like, you know that you're not in a position, you know more than the average person, but it's also about sharing in a time and place that feels appropriate, almost like an energetic etiquette for what makes sense in this spiritual space. So like, you know how when, like if I post the energy of the days, and for those of you guys that are spiritual entrepreneurs that have been on, or just like people interested, hi Sam, in a spiritual community in any sort of capacity, when somebody is, you know, driving their own bus, right? Like how I'm posting and I'm driving the bus that is my social media. If there was another practitioner, hi Ju, that came on and started answering people's questions in a question that I asked them directly, it's like, why are you trying to tell me the directions of what I have going on, right? And I remember, I'll use a little example because I remember seeing it and I was like, okay, I know when the time is right, Gabe will ask me this question, but I'm not going to push you there before you're ready, right? Like I think for me, it's not, and that's where I think a lot of people get confused. It's like being a mentor and somebody who guides other people is like straddling this balance beam and knowing like when is the time and place for me to help people without it feeling like it's unsolicited advice. We all can have that no matter our energy type or not, right? So there was a comment that you had left on another tarot card reader's page. It's a projector, a Capricorn rising, Aquarius sun, who you'll know. And he was driving the bus, or they were driving the bus, I forget pronouns, but they were driving the bus and saying, like, talking about tarot. And in that video, it was very clear that the person that they were teaching or educating in that moment, hi Nadem, wasn't your energy, right? Like it wasn't for you to go in, and the only comment that was on there was the one that you wrote that was like, yes, tarot is a tool. And how it registers in that space is like, yeah, duh, that's who that person is talking to. Like that's what they're teaching. But it reads as like, hey, I also know about this. People who are also attracted to working with this person, come pay attention to me. But at the time, right, this is before you started posting, there wasn't a place for anyone to go to even see or confirm that they could trust you and that you knew what they were talking about, right? So exactly. So 2 out of my 3 channels are projected as well, right? So instead of being lost in the comments of workshops and, you know, social media and things along those lines, I think you have to figure out a way to start to claim your space even more so that really shapes you as the talent. And it's like, I wonder, like when you comment or when you're commenting and the way that you're commenting, right? It's like, what do you really feel like is your true intention in those comments? Like if you're commenting on other practitioners' pages, there's no real way that those people are going to become paying clients of yours, right? Like there will be over time when somebody builds that trust with you, but most people that if you're engaging with that are already educating other people, like they know how to do the work that you do for themselves. It's very rare, even for myself as a practitioner that's been in the game a long time, like few and far between will I get readings from other people. It's like when I know that I've hit an impasse and I need clarity, and I know that about the way that this business is run. So I find, you know, that it's like, what doesn't feel to me like coattail riding as much as it feels as much as like backseat driving. And I think having the educated guesses, yeah, that's what it registers as, really. It's like, and so because of the cloud of judgment that is in this space, it's like, I know you, I've known you for a long time. Like, I know that you don't want that for yourself, but that's how it registers because there's so many people that are like, oh, you know how many times I get people reaching out to me to do stuff, and even I got, you know, who people are reaching out and they're like, oh, they trust Brenna, right? So let me use Brenna's people to pitch whatever I'm trying to pitch. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like that energy, right, only gets through for a period of time. Sometimes I don't clock it as fast as I wish that I did. And then I say, oh, okay, next, on to the next one. I lead with my heart open, but that's the shit that we're constantly trying to fight through and get rid of, right? Yeah, and I think it's like you have to create more of an identifier for whatever it is that you want to be known for. Like when you say, and I think that that's always kind of like the learning phase of the fifth line. And that's part of the projection, but it's also not necessarily always projection for something that isn't valid, right? Like we're no longer, and I made a couple posts about this because I wanted to chat more about like the business aspects of things, but it's like nobody cares about like the Pinterest mindset work that we could get 10 years ago on Instagram, right? Like truly looking at every time you engage or make a piece of content, I know that I'm the person that this information comes from, but I'm I'm an Aquarius rising. I got a lot of Aquarius placements, right? It's like, who am I talking to? Like who actually needs this? When I am making something, I'm thinking of Deanna, I'm thinking of Gabe, like I'm thinking of people like you guys that pay for my services already, and thinking about how is it another piece of advice that I can contribute based on what I'm getting the download of in the moment. Yeah, let me go back and read. And then let me open the notifications tab here just in case. I'll be on for a little while. I have a couple other reading spots open, but let me read for what you were saying too. For my YouTube guys, I'm dual streaming on TikTok, so if you don't see, that's why. The comments, but yeah. I want clients to purposefully pursue it. I've mostly stopped commenting because I'm also tired of people describing my motives. I feel like I'm getting into the space where all I want to do is share what I want to share and no care for who wants to see it. Yeah, absolutely. I just need to share what I want to discover who I am. Yeah, I love that. And I think like we already know things to be true, right? Like we already know that you want, like you want to get recognized for your spiritual work in some way. That's already like a really big refiner for what it is that you're navigating towards, right? Like how you want to be recognized, what you want to be known for. So that's already a big asset, and figuring out like, okay, we know this. Now it's saying, okay, I thought this year that I was going to be talking a lot more across platforms about business building, and I will be, but I am also I do not plug my head in the sand, which is what a lot of spiritual people will do, and say like not taking into acknowledgement the economy and like who are my people. I know who I think that I'm selling to as a business, but who is it that actually is buying my services, right? Like there's a lot of people that pigeonhole this work previously into like, this is how you're going to 10x your months, when that doesn't work anymore, right? Like, yes, people can do that, but it has to be more so about like, when I share this, what's the intention? When I'm commenting this. And I also think like limiting your characters. You pack so much information in such a short period of time. It's pushed out into the right portal. Doesn't even always have to be about business, right? It can be about finding out who you are, but I think it's like you're trying, like, it's not throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks, but rather refining who it is or the avenue that you want to get to actually make sure that you're connecting in the right way. Yeah, how I want to funnel people. Yeah, because I think, like I always say, you're literally the Library of Alexandria, and what's happening is that those books are flying out the windows and breaking through the glass because they don't have the right place that they're supposed to go. Yeah. Because think about, like, you can, like, literally look at me as a case study, as a fellow manifesting generator. I go on live, right? 1 day a week for you guys for work, right? I'm 1 day a week on live. Oh, I see. Melissa. Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, Deanna, I see you for 1:30 here. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't yapping over everyone's reading, because this is also helpful for, like, it's a good, like, group teaching moment, especially if you're an entrepreneur, somebody that's looking to grow on social media in 2026. It's like a totally different way that we have to think about it now, because people have like spirituality fatigue. And like always feel like they're being sold something, you know? It's like, what am I being sold, when it should be like, as the Pisces or with our placements, like how are we of service to other people within this discipline? Let me read back what you said. Yeah. Proper places for what? It's the other thing I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. And I think like there's two ways that you can interact with social media. Be aware of like when you're just looking to connect and maintain relationships because you want to be social, right? Like that's the 5 line, that's a Sagittarius. Like you want to have a good time with your people. And like, what are you doing in the lens of actually doing like a business engagement, if you will? Like what's actually the business growth that you're going towards? So it's like also that A or B, black or white, yes or no pathway to help you refine. It's funny because the 6 line hanging gate placement is, I see it more so enacted in interpersonal relationships. So there is friction there, but the friction for you with all of your placements in mind isn't going to happen publicly. It's more so like once people know that they can trust me, Scorpio stellium, in a sacred space, that's where we get to the things that feel uncomfortable, right? Like I am always trying to be not so much diplomatic, but sensitive to the feelings of you guys that are giving me your information that is sensitive to read you online, because I never want to have you feel put out or like put down based on the advice that I'm giving you in a space where it's about like learning and self-discovery, right? So it's like finding those kinds of moments of balance to pick and choose, like what you're in it for, what you're doing it for, I think is important. Yeah, a more structured approach for my offerings, but also for discovering your layers. Absolutely. Because right now, I think it just reads as like neurospicy to put in your vocabulary where it's info dumping and like you're trying to like take up space too much in an area where it's not the time and place to do so. And like the intention or the way that it reads is like that projectorness, like having 2 projected like channels, right? And me being somebody who does this, I create before I consume, right? So there's a layer of like, I am using social media, especially my apps now, with the intention of like, I'm going into this with like, this is my computer room time because I need to get all this stuff done before my mom has to make a phone call. For us millennials that know, you know? And so it's like not feeling like there is, like knowing what you're using it for, right, is important. Hi, Axel. So that can be another layer of like just kind of like thinking about how can I go into this. And I think too, it's like if you're engaging and if you're commenting, like make sure that everything has a purpose. Is the intention to just connect and have a true conversation? But you know, it's weird now because a lot of these applications have changed, and the way that people, because of being an American that has TikTok in the US, there's a breach of trust that has happened a lot this year in general. Yeah, I think because you are more in that, like, you are inherently a spotlight person, but being perceived, you have a complex relationship with that because of your personal history. And now it's about how do I show up as a professional where my personal history is a piece of it, but like I'm no longer and I hate to say the word victim, and I don't mean this in like you have a victim mindset in an incorrect way fully, but it's like blurring the lines of like, as I mentioned to you a year or so ago, it's like when I am going through something, or like, let's say I have like a really bad, like, you know, I think of like your migraines, like I'll educate in a way that people need to know, but like gone are the days where like, if you're wanting to be perceived as a professional in your relationships, like if I see constantly that somebody's complaining about what ailment they have, I lose the trust of being able to say like, oh, I've paid this person XYZ amount of dollars. Like if this is what I'm seeing all the time, like I'm afraid that like they're not going to be able to show up to my reading because of what's going on. And so it's that balance of like, you have to learn, and that's obviously being somebody that deals with chronic illness, it's not a fault, but it's learning how to navigate your chronic illness with like, that doesn't taint the way that you're seen as a professional. And, you know, that's unfortunately the line that we need to draw, right, in business. But it's also like, that's the game that in capitalism in 2026 that exists. And it's like, if I were to go and share all the things that have happened to me in the last year with my family, every time it happened, I wouldn't have clients, because you guys would be like, I don't want to put any more on her plate because this doesn't feel like, this pales in comparison to what she's going through. Right? Like I share enough so you guys are informed if I'm a little tired one day, but it's like, I just want you to kind of think about the layers of using me as a case study to see how that also helps you understand the way that you need to interact with your business. If being a spiritual entrepreneur, if this is truly how you want to make your money or a variation of how you want to make your money. You know, it's like there's, again, a time and a place for everything, and it's not that you can't share those things, or, right, like your market then, or your ideal client avatar, which is things that, like, these vocabulary words aren't necessarily like always friendly or matched in a area that's talking about chronic illness all the time. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's what you're unmucking, because, you know, like, I also am a victim of that, right? But I don't let the things that other people have done to me out of their evilness and negativity dictate my current reality, because they're not here right now. I'm here right now. My husband's here right now. You guys are here right now. The things that matter to me. So but that is just the evolution of how I've healed with my personal experience, right? So it's like, I'm comfortable being in the spotlight and I'm safe to be seen. And I've worked on that process, right? So it's like everything that you've been through in some capacity, I've had the different like variation of it. Yeah. Yeah. Explanatory. Yeah. I think it's like, yeah, like again, time and place is just what I keep coming up towards. So even if it's like, that's the little mantra that you use in those moments of like, there's a time and place to think about the things. Hello, people. A time and place to understand like when things need to be shared and how they need to be shared. It's like a little bit of like an energetic etiquette class for like how we interact with these platforms. And it's like social media is not, especially in the spiritual business world, like we're talking about business strictly, it's like not a place where people are always looking to like commune with like their equals. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like there's moments for that, but it's like you have to really look at who is the person that's posting, what are they posting about? Let me get, if I am an intuitive person, let me get a little bit of an energetic read on like what the situation is before I blurt out in the comment where it is that information needs to go. It's not that the connection piece is wrong, but it's the way that you connect that is putting your foot in your mouth. Yeah, I think it'll be helpful for sure. Yeah, and it's like, listen, none of those things are like invalid, right? Like that's all part of your experience. That's all valid. It's just a matter of like, I think you need to like refine what the target is a little bit more so that we make sure that like as we're piecing back those layers, it's like, okay, like what I'm sharing doesn't undermine the authority of somebody who's done what they've done, like this Capricorn rising I was mentioning, for like probably 20 years, right? So it's like, that's how it reads when it's like in a comment, like, do I have to like add on information here, or is this a like, oh yeah, I love that, like it's like, and that comes with confidence in like knowing that you know where you're going and what your directive is for your business. So like everything has an intention and a purpose, and finding like everything having an intention and a purpose without it also being like, oh, like not confusing that with being calculated, right? It's like, okay, when I'm confident in who I am, that just, I'm pouring out from my overflow. I'm not like oversharing in the wrong spaces only out of excitement, because that's what a lot of projectors get themselves into trouble. Like it reads itself as like unsolicited advice when somebody's just really excited that they have somebody to talk about that's interested in the same things as an extension like on the internet, right? But it's kind of like, you know, think about how that reads in conversations in person, and like we all are real people on the internet. So just some things to kind of like thinking about. Yeah, I love that. Okay, yeah. Because you deserve to be seen in the light that I know that people should see you in, right? And that I've always said that from the beginning. It's like, but it's because like we all have our layers of shit for why, you know, like that the good energy or the confidence have been suppressed, obviously. And it's like everyone's individual path for like when they get there, how they get there, and we all help, you know, each other along the way. You know, I'm a Pisces and I'm also an Aquarius rising, so like I share some of that, the yin to my yang is Leo, right? So it's like I understand the luminary qualities of that, while also thinking about the context of the community in which I exist, right? So it's like me going on to like another human design readers page that wants to talk about incarnation crosses. There's also 2 vultures outside, if that is symbolism in and of itself. 3 actually, but like, you know, knowing like, I think positioning yourself as an authority, but also knowing that like in your authority means that there's a time and a place for when you also want to hermit too. So yeah, absolutely. Listen, I know I'm a Scorpio moon. Like I'm emo as hell. Like I know what, even without being an emotional authority, like I have so much water and fixed water and air that it's like trying to I'm having to reel in the spool of the thread of my balloon and figuring out like where it's gonna go all the time, you know. And I think that you can kind of see like who are other Cancer risings or that exhibit themselves in the spiritual space, and when you're looking at them and you're like, ooh, that I've done that, and I now see from a third party like how it looks on the outside, it's kind of like a check. Like if I see an Aquarius rising that's too much in their alienness, I'm like, ooh, but you're of service to the community, right? So I'm like, ooh, I know that I've done that before, and that's a good way for me to check myself. Not any diss to that person, and that's not my place to comment and be like, this is what you should be doing instead, fellow Aqua rising here. But it's like finding that balance of like, okay, I know I've responded to that data, and now I know how to move forward in a way that just feels a little bit better. Yeah. And there's a lot of Cancer risings here online, right? Like there's a lot of Cancer risings, because Cancer risings, Leo risings, like you guys have, and projectors, you guys have recognition written like literally in your coding, like that you're meant to be seen, you're meant to take up space. It's just a matter of figuring out like what it's like the show Californication or anything like that. It's like how, as a talent manager by, you know, day job in my early 20s to mid 20s, like I'm like, okay, how do I wake you up from the hangover? Like we got a show to perform, you know, and that's just part of like being a creative person in the creative process in the spiritual space. So thank you for being the responding board, because I know like you are not the only person that has this type of question. You're not the only person that feels this way, and you're not the only person, you're not the first, and you won't be the last that I've dealt with that has the same exact kind of energy. Yeah, exactly. Because nobody can, like, it's like, yeah, like listen, I have a Virgo Chiron, like, trust me, when it comes to like the perfectionism piece, like I hear you. And it's like that, like, oh, like I didn't know this, I should have said this way, like, you know, whatever it is. And I'm like, but I am one of many, like my ego is not that big where I'm like obsessed with every person remembering everything I slipped up about. Yeah, absolutely, Deanna. I'm glad to share. That's why I said, like, when one of you has a question, like usually everybody has the question, or we're all on earth at the same time, like we're all picking up the same energy in the same way. So it's like usually we're experiencing some variation of the same things. You know, especially with the luminary qualities, the moon and the sun, Leo and Cancer, in connection there too. So, you know, and just something that's been on my mind, like I think of like the best thing that you can do, and I literally made this, like I filmed it in bed and it's only my eyeballs, and I've been thinking about posting it, and I was like, the only thing that anyone has to worry about right now, whatever business you're in, is truly just being a better fucking person, and like human in humanity that coexists with other humans. Like everyone is afraid of like healthy dialogue and conflict resolution, and takes a difference of opinion as like a personal attack on their character. Not everybody, but people go on social media to doom scroll and complain, and that's been a piece of the internet for a long time. So we're finding these little offshoot breakout rooms to connect about something in a shared space, but that doesn't mean that we're not fighting through that fluff to get to where we are right now. Hi, Hav. So, you know, it's like, just like I'm always thinking, and this is my art historian training, like of the cultural, energetic, communal context in which this micro moment is existing, right? So it's like, okay, this is the general energy I'm getting from this anamorphous blob that is the people that I'm talking to simultaneously. What's my role right now in this sacral, immediate, being where my feet are moment? And like tomorrow it may change, right? Like, and its form may change. So I'm like I've always had to try and work with the Scorpio and my Virgo Chiron, like the rumination piece, like not obsessing over how I can refine to be even better tomorrow, because it's like tomorrow, when I ground in where I am in that moment, that is tomorrow, I'll know, because I trust myself and I know that I know enough about my craft to understand that, okay, I know that I can rise to the occasion when the opportunity presents itself. But yeah, so to pause there to pivot over to beautiful Deanna. So we are at the 2929. Hi, Unique. How are you? 2929, Deanna. So Deanna's writing in, and I do have some slots available if you guys want to get a reading with me. It's $15, 10 minutes. You get a recording of your reading. Kai, I'm just pivoting over to read for Deanna's paid reading now. And then I'll answer some questions for those of you that have them in between, if you don't want me to pull up your chart specifically. Deanna says, hey, Brenna, I've been getting messages from my Saturn. I want to know what lesson Saturn has for me, specifically Saturn, Neptune, gate 38, conjunct in my 6th house. So, fighting for your right to do what you want to do with your day. The end. That's literally it. But no, like we'll obviously talk about the layers of this, but it really is that. Like, hello, I'm good. I'm glad you're good. When it comes to our Saturn placements, and let me pull up your chart so we have it here. Saturn is the disciplinarian that's like, listen, I'm Saturn ruled, so you guys can see this. Where like, I may say the hard thing. I may say something that feels mean, but I don't say it mean. Like there is never a hidden motive in what I'm saying when I share something that's uncomfortable. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. Mercury retrograde on my ascendant, like very, very close, right? So it's like, for me, even though it's retrograde, it's like I may say it like weird sometimes. Like I feel like the way that I talk or the vocabulary words that I use aren't necessarily like normal ones, or I'll misspeak, but it's that like knowing with its Saturnian energy and living with it so personally, it's that ability to like do the hard thing, even when it feels harder than it should, right? Or it feels almost like at times in my life, like personally unbearable or just so emotional. And it comes with knowing that like you have the right to fight for yourself and what it is that you believe in, and the things that you want and who you want to be. Gate 28, or gate 38, excuse me. Gate 28 sits across from gate 38. So it's like the channel of struggle, half of the channel of struggle. Yes, exactly. And you could say it like practically pretty. I find that sometimes, because Taurus is still Venus ruled. Hi, Carol. It can still be a little avoidant sometimes. Yeah, happy end of your Saturn return. I love that for you. And I'm a Saturn in Pisces as well. So I understand it, but it's that, being disciplined about your daydream. For Capricorn, it's being disciplined about your money and your bag and your space and all the tangible, earthbound things. I think that's what people see, especially when we talk about Capricorn and Saturn. It's that misunderstanding that like Capricorn and Saturn energy, let me do this here. We incarnated on Earth for a reason, right? Like we're here, and there are certain rules to this plane that some are frustrating because of how humans have created the game in which we're playing, right? It's very much so a game, but also like if you're not willing to be somebody that is, a martyr to the cause, right? Which you have a young daughter, like no one in your position is going to guilt you about somebody who's not, hello, bro, who's not, in a certain level of like advocacy that would be unsafe for you based on what's going on in the world right now, like a time and a place for everybody. Oh, good. So this will help with your Cap rising. Yes, you have Saturn in your 3rd house. Well, in whole sign. But Deanna, yeah, it's really about like, how do I fight for my right to be able to do what I want to do with my day? And what do I do when my sister, when my mom, when other people who haven't had to learn that discipline the hard way, like they may not have Saturn in the 6th house, so they won't get judged the same way, or just in their social environment, they won't get judged the same way, but like they're sure as hell are going to judge you for the way that you live your life and navigate your day to day. And then it's saying, how do I, yes, exactly. Thank you. That's so cute. I love that. How is it, like, it truly goes back to, I always think of this as Leo rising, like, how does it feel safe to be seen by people who don't understand me? That kind of energy. I think, bro, because I'm on my streaming platform to use my chart generator, so that may be why. Because I'm doing like a version of what I do for work with Human Design, so it's a little bit of a different live than our ones of hanging out and chatting. So you are unlocking another chapter of my existence. So if you don't see the chat, I'm talking on my right-hand side with Deanna, who I'm reading for now. with Saturn, yeah, like Saturn and Neptune conjunction in that way. Let me make sure I read. What did you say? Neptune conjunction makes me hard-headed. Yeah. Gemini Sun wants to say it, and Taurus Mercury is like, wait, plus all the Cancer. And I think it's like, hi, Jax. I think it's being less concerned about, like, I love that you're doing so much, like, working out, and, like, I think that that's something that should be, like, a major part of your day, like, really being aware that it's okay to be, like, superficial for how other people, it feels like more of a channeled word for how other people are pushing it onto you, to, like, care about your body and the way that you look. Like, I grew up with, like, a mom that was very judgmental about, like, even getting your nails done and, like, taking care of yourself. And I love beauty and clothes, and, you know, I'm a Pisces Venus. Like, I love, like, aesthetics, and I like my bougie things, but I don't like bouge in excess because I find, like, it's unnecessary. Like, if I have enough money to buy more than one Chanel bag, I'd rather, like, donate it to some cause, or, like, use my time, you know, trade it in that way. Hi Prue, welcome. But, like, I think that it's, like, unmucking that identity of the projections, and this is so relevant for you too, Orion, and Jax as well. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. But unmucking yourself from the identity of what you know that other people are saying about you, even when you're not in the room with them and they're not saying it, because you just know. Like, I feel like it's just the gift and the curse of Leo placements and luminary placements. Like, you know, and Capricorn too, like, you know what people are saying about you behind your back, without them even having to say it to your face. It's same for me too, but I remember even in the hurt that it causes me, where there's people that pay for my services, that say that they love what I do, like, I intuitively always know when people have a problem, when people are mad I'm not giving them enough attention in the way that I think that they should be getting it because they've paid me for a service before, like when they want me to underwrite their human design business even though they've never touched human design before. Like, I'm aware of all those things, but, like, still being somebody that cares enough in humanity to do my part to see past their humanness, to look at the core of who they are as a human, and know that that's what needs nurturing right now, because there's many other people in the world that would feel that feeling and go into attack mode about, like, monitoring spirits, you know? So it's like, I'm aware of the afflictions of humanity, and I've done enough, like, psychoanalysis, psychology, like, spiritual education, plus, like, the psychoanalysis side of things, to, like, know the rules of humanity and generally how humanity is, and doing what I can in my point in the world to be able to fight for my right, gate 38 in the 6th house, to do what I have to do to protect my peace and still experience joy, knowing that I'm also a human. So it's a lot of those layers that I think speak to, like, the nuance of the conversation that a lot of us, like, spiritual folks feel right now. And are you unique? Are you, like, dominating planet? Are you a Gemini or a Virgo rising? I can, if you'd like me to. But, yeah, I feel like with what you're dealing with, it's like knowing that you can exist in the way that you want to exist, and that a lot of what even just Pluto and Aquarius is teaching us is that we're allowed and need, crucially, to be individuals that don't give a fuck about what it is that they do and how you do it. Like, you know, it's like that levity and that groundedness that you guys feel in my spirit, right, is the fact that, like, other people do not dictate the way that I live my life. It took me 5.5 years of busting my ass and working a couple jobs, and I was in New York City and working in insurance to be able to be self-employed, to build the life that I have now, to be able to do that. But it's like the energy that I have now, and, like, that I know that all of you are capable of, is because, like, I'm not afraid to offend people. Or, you know, if there's a woman that has constantly martyred herself that I have to set a boundary with, or I am crucially aware of the fact that they're at a different level than I am at, I know, because I've been there, right? I've had that experience in my life before, so I don't shun it because I've outgrown it, but I'm just like, okay, I'm aware of, like, the time and the place. But it's up to you with Saturn in the 6th house to, like, set a boundary with that. Saturn in the 2nd house for me. If I don't set boundaries with the right people, it costs me money. It costs me my energy, right? It's conjunct my sun, right? So for you, it costs you your health. It costs you your well-being. It costs, disruptions to your daily life that you have to recover from even more so because you don't have as much energy. You're also a mom of a toddler. It's like, I think that the best thing, even if you can't do it for yourself, and I know you do this already, but like it's the affirmation of it, is like it takes your energy away from what should go to your daughter. I think when we have kids, it's like, and I think about that, like it should make you more brutal in your approach. Yeah. Think about, and that's true with splenic projectors too. Like how many times for Saturn in the 6th house, like have you seen like, oh my gosh, like I said yes and I pushed myself and then I got the flu. Right? Like that would be a good way for you to kind of look back in the track record of like, ooh, I didn't fight for myself. I didn't like lay down the law. Because what happens is, and I see it from a mile away, and it's like in my humanity of my 1-3, like I allow myself to like take a calculated risk, but I know now I'm so strict with my program that like I know when somebody is worth taking the risk on, because when I'm including somebody else in my life or my business, it's like never going, I know what my points of detriments are, right? So like that awareness, hi Amanda, is important for you. A point of your detriment, right? Like, or where you would be, hello, hugs back from America. Like it's, and regardless of your placements, like you have to be very strict with that physical program, Deanna, but even more so, it's like if I were you, I wouldn't tell people when I would be working out or if I plan to work out that day. You would see that I worked out that day because I posted about it after I already worked out, right? You wouldn't hear me, like it's like I'm still open and I share what I need to share, but now it's like never until after it's happened. Like that's true for everybody, because there's a lot of people that like don't even mean to be intentionally just disruptive, but the only way that they know to get attention from other people that they want to be around is by being disruptive, and it's like I see, no matter what their age is, like I just know that they only know the way to get their parents' attention, their caregivers' attention, is by being hyped up, and I see that, right? Like we see that in adults. So it's like, how can you see that? You acknowledge it, the entity. Oh, I didn't light my candle today. What am I doing? But you see that that buzzing bumblebee energy that is in that person, and can acknowledge it for what it is. And Virginia, I'll pour into that in a moment. I'm just finishing up a paid reading for Deanna right now, but I'm sorry to hear that. Is your mom Scorpio by chance, or does she have dark curly hair? She reminds me of my grandma. But yeah, Deanna, I think like, for you, just like air and share, it's like exactly what I said to Gabe today too. Time and place, right? Oh, that's so funny. Both in the 6th house. Time and place, right? Like who is it that I can kind of see? And usually for all of us, we all have a very interesting relationship, and even my Cap risings too, with the anomaly that is our like the energy that puts us in our villain era is like the best way that I could describe it. Like we all, and this is so like gate 28 of me to explain it this way, but if we all in like video game vocabulary, if we all have this like boss fight energy, and like the ultimate, if we look at the red thread through all the people that have ever fucked us over or have been like just like causing us, some variation of tension, there's all common ground there, right? Mine is that people see my openness and see the way that I operate my life and think that I'm a lot, almost like naive, or a lot more like, if they cuddle up to me enough, they get a lot of things for free, right? And we think of where Saturn is conjunct in my 2nd house, right? Conjunct my Venus and my Sun, right? So it's like I'm aware of that, like always being something when people kind of come sniffing around for things, right? Like I've always been aware that it's like to take something that I cannot give to them, even if I wanted to, and regardless, they get mad, right? So it's like same for a Leo rising, you know, it's like people like can temporarily take your health away from you. Like if you're overextending for somebody that isn't giving you the reciprocity of care in return, it's like, but I just speak to my personal experience from that, because it's like being very aware of like, you know, people and you guys on YouTube, like so many of you that have joined me, it's like I get so many questions about like, how are you like that? Or like, why are you so light? And it's like, because I know what I look like and what happens to me if I overextend to people who really don't give a fuck about me or like aren't reciprocal in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, exactly. Like I know, like it's, and that's the struggle. It's like, that's why they say that like Pisces, we're all like low key, like a little depressed about the state of the world, because I see everything everywhere all of the fucking time. Like I'm so hyper aware, and like it's for all of those stelliums, like, and it's like you have to kind of pick the area of where you see with Saturn, you have to defend yourself the most. Hi Ferrari, how are you, beautiful? And usually, right, we see that reflected with Saturn. And it's like, you know, fun mother of 7, how are people taking her fun away? You know, what does that look like? I'm good, how are you? I'm dual streaming on TikTok, so I'm doing readings. This is a human design chart in front of us, so you guys are unlocking another part of my Brenna lore on YouTube, that those of you that are usually in my my weekly lives, so welcome. But yeah, that just felt important to say, you know, for all of you guys too. I just kind of, again, like lean into like, how am I of service of everyone that's here right now? And those kinds of things. So, you know. Oh yeah, I know, Brenna's swearing, I know. I do, that's what I say, like, especially when I'm like proving a point, like I don't see it as like and being like a Northeasterner, like Northeastern energy, like New Yorker energy. I don't think so, I haven't seen him today. But New Yorker energy, or he was here earlier actually, but he may have left just because it's a different kind of live. But I only see 2 people in the chat right now. Let me see. I'll open up my little control room here. There we go. Okay. But yeah, it just felt important. Yeah, the word lore. Oh, I love that. Exact. I love that. Happy Sunday, bunny. Hi. But yeah, it's just like I am brutally aware of the way that humanity is, and I will not. Oh, okay, there you go. Darth Eloise. There you go. Casually waiting. I truly, like, the grass is greener where you water it is the best thing I could say. And the best, like, it's like, it comes back to all those cliches, everything that I can share with you from personal experience, because it's, and it literally cost me my nuclear family. Like, I had to, like, literally went through the death of people who are still alive that included, like, basically my mom and my dad in different ways. And, because I was not gonna lay down and literally destiny swap and enable them, you know, by running and being the savior for my mom. You know, like that's literally what it cost me this year. And I had to be okay with that, because like I released it with love, but this was a very challenging year, end of my Saturn return for that specifically. And a lot, like I am the person that is like the poster child for what is it like, you those of you who are not in an ability or don't have the emotional, like you're not, it feels too tender and hard, and I completely respect and get it, to be no contact with your parents that are still alive. Like I'm gonna be like I'm like literally feel like the guinea pig that tells people, okay, this is what happened though, because I did it and I wasn't afraid to, and like this is what happened. But I'm okay in that area to be the guinea pig in that way, because I know that it's literally what I had to do, and I was like gonna be a shell of myself that was unable to do what I know that I came here to do professionally, personally, and the things that I wanted for my life. You know, to like, it's the exchange I had to make. Everything comes at a cost. So yeah. You're so sweet. Yeah, okay, sounds good, Sidar. Thank you. I'll let you guys chat. I also made on Instagram a YouTube broadcast channel. So those of you who also want to chat there, it's also available. But I know that Eloise, it's a whole thing, but I will let you guys be able to chat. But yeah, hello Chelsea. Hi Anna. Yeah, but I think of that too, and it's funny because kind of pivoting in there for you, Virginia, with your mom being in this, and it's so funny because I've actually thought a lot about death doulas and like stewardess and like shepherding people to the other side, and how in different variations of my life, like I don't actually, for all of you guys, I think that work with me, a lot of the work that we've done together, for those of you that have been here more than 6 months, like I've been one of the people that's really carried you through a death of a version of yourself, and like to the other side. But when we talk about death and when people are dying, for me, it's so funny. Like when I talk about death, like I'm giggling and I'm laughing and I'm always kind of like that, because to me, it's just like a transcendence to another plane that we haven't unlocked that level yet. And so, when we're in this kind of space, it's tricky because I think what I could explain to you, Virginia, too, is what you're probably dealing with is some variation of anticipatory grief. And I dealt with that with my dad this year as well. He's still alive, but his cognitive abilities have declined a lot. And as they're transitioning, it's like that weird kind of liminal space of like, how do you make amends? I know, I'm sorry. With people who, like, you can't go back, right? Like and that's, I think, the finality of death that scares people is like, wow, like we have these beliefs and these intentions for our relationships with our parents, but what is it that they actually are? Like, what is that lore, right? Like, oh, this is what I know. I thought that this is how this play was going to end, but oh wow, like this is what this looks like in Brenna's life, in Virginia's life, in Anna's life, in Nini's life, in Gabe's life, right? It's so different. Hi Za, how are you? So yeah, thank you. Yeah, and for me, it's like I feel sadness, but I have just enough Aquarius where it's like I think about it every day at some point, but I like have that, it's just life, it's part of life. And I, when you're dealing, I don't know, what for Virginia, what is your mom passing from, if you don't mind me asking? This is a human design chart. I'm dual streaming to TikTok right now, so the chat that you can't see is on TikTok. Just so you're like, who is she talking to? Reminds me of that meme. But this is a variation of the astrological tool, spiritual tool that I use for work. Think about it every day, right? Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so crazy. Even just me mentioning my dad with the neurological, it's really challenging because the brain is such a complex organ that we still know not as much about, that we still don't use a lot of as individuals, right? So it's like when we see people go into some variation of cognitive decline, it's like it's almost like the best way I could describe it is like you see when their circuits short wire. Yeah. So like in my like lived experience, right? Yeah, it's true. And like our cognition is like being tied to our identity, right? It's like, but of how our loved ones perceive us. Because when you're dealing with a cognitive issue, yeah, Nini, you don't exactly know how that person is perceiving themselves, which is the fucked part. Like, when my dad will do something impulsive, I'm like, what variation of himself does he think that he is? Like, I remember him saying something to me at my kitchen table this past spring, and he was living with us for a little while, and I was like, whoa, hard stop. But I was still not used to, I know, sorry, it is, you're fine. I can talk, I can code switch emotionally very quickly. But it's really trippy is the best way I could describe it. I know, Anna, you know too. Yes, exactly. It's almost like, and I think holding your reactions, like especially as like a Taurus mom, that's probably of a certain age. Like there's a lot of stubbornness through and through. I just have to do my little puzzle. There we go. Stubbornness through and through. And like, I think that, cherishing those moments because my grandmother, she died of an aortic abdominal aneurysm. She fell in a outpatient facility when she was in recovery, and it created a tear, basically in a pocket and so and I always laugh because she's always with me all the time, that they said like, well, you're gonna have 2 weeks to 2 hours. Like, we don't know, because like, you don't know when something is, it's similar circumstances. And I'll read Deanna in a moment. And she lived till literally the very last day, and she died 4 days after her birthday. And they say that when people pass, that when they pass close to their birthday, that they've really finished the incarnation. Like their lifetime in the reincarnation aspect of things. And that was so her. I'm pretty sure she was a Leo Venus in the 12th house, because I have a lot of, anytime I see Venus in the 12th house, it's always been somebody in my family that has actually had their spouse die tragically and die young. And my grandfather was one of those people to her. Young, like, he was 60s, but still, it was complex. And so, like the glimpses of her that I remember seeing that were still her, because my grandmother was the type of person that always had somebody living with her. And there was always somebody in the house that was like somebody that was usually that had some sort of substance abuse issues, to be honest. And she was like always wanting to help other people at the detriment of her nuclear family sometimes. And one of the cousins that she had helped, was dealt with homelessness and on and off the street. And when I guess word got back to him that my grandmother had passed, this isn't funny, but it is, like, just in knowing the type of person that she is, like, he was sniffing around, probably from some sort of inheritance, or money to get for, his needs. And he ended up passing like the same year, not much later. And, my grandmother would always roll her eyes and say, "Oh, for heaven's sakes." And the last thing that she could do when she heard that, like 2 days before she died, was roll her eyes at him, and at the circumstance, because my mom's mom was like, "Mom, like, you'll never believe who reached out." It was so and so. And so, like, in those moments where we have, like, I think about like the sacredness of death and being around somebody who you can, shepherd in some way to the afterlife, or the next transition or next phase. It's holding those glimpses sacred. That's something that in my grandmother's transition that I really held on to in a good way, and those abilities to see her in herself. And like, there's always, even with, brain disorders or things like that, there's glimpses of them being themselves until the very end. And those often become, the threads of the other memories that we hold onto them, through other things that they've done in their life. So, hello, Mario. But just, I hope, some things, it's not easy. And I think, the biggest thing I could say is allow yourself to know that grieving is a verb. And it's an active process that has levels to it. And your variation of grief will be different from other people's. If you have siblings that are going through this with you, siblings grieve differently. My mom is still, my mom is like mourns, Yeah, that's so crazy. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Or some like neurological, right? Yeah, but it's just that you are feeling, and I know, hi Infinity, that feeling of being suspended in air. And it's a really annoying feeling. And it's like, how dare you, do this to me as you're dying? Like, it truly, like, those are like the very human thoughts that like people don't want to say out loud, but it's like, why are you doing, even though we know it's not their fault, and then we feel guilty, and it's like all these things happen in 5 seconds or less, and then we ping pong back and forth. Grief is funny that way. And allowing yourself to ping pong, allowing yourself to not judge what feelings come up, because if you don't judge it, you give yourself honest data to work with of what you're feeling. So, being able to just like sit with that and take care of yourself as much as you're taking care of her, and find places that you can, even like this. It's like, who would have thought in a random TikTok live that we would be having this conversation? But like, it's just the way that my energy has always worked. It's like, I am like, if we were in the grocery store, we'd also be having the same conversation next to the eggs, It's like that's just the way that my life has always been, and now I just do it online. So yeah, I'm happy to help, and let me know any other questions in that way too. Hi Eddie, how are you? Hello. I hope, is it? Oh, let me see. Maybe I'll let's do this. Is that better? Maybe? Scorpio Stellium thinks it's so true. Like, the heaviness is never, like, heavy to me. It's just a process of life. Hi, Lex. I'm dual streaming to TikTok at the same time. So I'm doing a version of astrology readings. Hi, Swas. How are you? Hello. But yeah. I think Deanna, was it you shared? My grandpa transitioned late last year on Leave the Far with dementia. Oh my gosh, he was gone long before. Yeah. It's so challenging. Yeah, I have a very close college friend I was just talking about, and it was so crazy because her dad passed of cancer, of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, right before her dad actually, right before she met her now husband, and she has a baby. She has a beautiful little baby girl, and like that, it's like the things that take people so soon. Healthiest guy, never smoked. He worked remote before it was cool, and he worked for, I think, like AT&T or something like that, and he would go and take like smoke breaks, but he didn't actually smoke. Here's Benny. What you doing, mister? You guys can't see Benny today. There you go. A little Benny love on both sides. Charles got married. Oh my gosh. Congratulations. Did you go to the wedding or was it private? Oh yeah, Eddie, no problem. Let's see, I'll move a little closer. Yeah, I don't know. I think about death every day. I know it sounds so morbid, but it's not. Like, I think about it, and like, it truly, like, when people ask me like about happiness or levity or joy or confidence, it's like, if this was my last day here, like, I do not, and I think I get afraid of hearing other people's stories who tell me things, or personally, or like in general, that are older, and their regrets, and I really listen, no matter what age you are, but like, we have an opportunity at any given moment to change our, like, what regrets, if we had to have any, are we okay with living with? And if we didn't, we can do everything that we can do anything that we want, but we can't do everything that we want. So like I always said, especially when my dad was sick this year and got diagnosed with his illness, I was like, if, do I want to be a neurologist now? Do I want to work on the, in the brain? Do I want to go to medical school? Is that something is that my heart that I want to choose in this life at this point in time? And I was like, you know what? Like, I can educate myself enough about what I need to about the brain to help him, but that's not what, I'm okay with not having done that. Like, what are the things that I'm okay? And like, how do I bring joy into this way? Oh, it was today. It was crying. Oh, I love that. Well, congratulations to your family. Oh, I didn't hear about that wedding. No. But yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions about that or anything else. I do have readings open if you want me to read for your human design or astrology, but I'm happy to talk about death and spirits and everything in the meantime. Just the lighter things. That is this casual Saturday. Near-death experience. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I think it's like because we don't, it's like everyone just has a fear of the unknown. So everyone's just always looking for the ability to make the unknown a little bit more knowable and figure that out. I can, yes. Yes. So I've practiced a lot of my psychic gifts, my intuitive gifts over the years. I saw my grandfather when I was 5, and that was the first experience that I remember. Yeah, you're so welcome. That's a good balance, Siddharth. And EQ also, it's so funny because I feel like you're going to be somebody, Siddharth, that's in the corporate world that like really brings a level of humanity to the space and is able to be successful while toggling a line that not many people have. Yeah. Is your uncle your mom's brother? Is she talking about him, like saying she sees him? That happens a lot too. Yeah. It's so funny because I wanted to say T or Tom. Do you have any upcoming mediumship gives or you think about doing these regularly? I would do them regularly, yeah. I'm happy to always tap in. Like, to me, it's always kind of like, what am I picking up on in this space? Let me know what your thoughts are. Oh, Willie, that's so funny. I had an Uncle Willie, too. Was he in the military? Did he serve? Or wear a uniform for work? Or like, I almost want to say it's like that autistic energy of like when you wear the same clothes over and over again because it just feels comfortable. Oh, Muslim. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Wow. So especially during Ramadan, how beautiful. It's so funny because I feel like, is he not open to this kind of stuff at all? But even being Muslim, like, wouldn't he have a certain, would he wear, like, was he active in, what is it, Masjid is the name, or Islamic Society? Okay, Orion, I can do that, yeah. Hi, Lana, how are you? Yeah, because I feel like, I think a lot, because I have, like, this weird connection to, a lot of Egyptians and a lot of like just a lot of people from the Middle East that like find their way to me like in a lot of ways. And I want to say, what's the knit? There's like a knit cap that because what I'm thinking of right now, because I it's so funny because I literally have been watching every day, and when I do my scrolling, I get on my phone around like 10 o'clock. Give myself a little bit of time to wake up and start answering comments. And the first thing that I do during Ramadan is watch all the Ramadan vlogs. So there's this, I don't remember the actual term for the leader of a mosque, but he's from the Islamic Society that's, I want to say it's by NYU. Yeah, it's like a knit. It's like what a yarmulke is to like a Jewish man, like that kind of, like that's what it reminds me of, just like, and so many layers of like what I love about like the Islam or like any kind of religion is that there's a lot of head wrapping too. But it's funny because I was like that, like a hijab, yes, but it's a different, it's like the male version of that. There's the hijab, there's the niqab as well. There's like different layers for women, but there's another, yeah, maybe. I'm afraid to pronounce it wrong, but I don't remember what it's called. Hi, Noah, how are you? Hello, hello. Yeah, that emoji is always a little sus. I'm dual streaming to TikTok, but it's so funny because like, it's just interesting that you're asking about him. And did he have like, I'm assuming that being he's Muslim, that he has a different, and maybe it's not Nini. I don't know. Maybe it's called the same thing. But he had the traditional Muslim burial process. Was he from the East Coast or like, I wanted to say like Newark, New Jersey. Yeah. Oh, Kufi. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's so interesting. Yeah. I think he was from Virginia. Oh, that's so interesting. That's Virginia. Where was he from, like, culturally, like, or epigenetically? I have a lot of people that are on my YouTube to the left-hand side during the week that are all from, like, Asia, like India and some Monaco representing. And a lot of what I'm like, okay, now I need to learn other languages so that when people come to me on the other side that don't speak English, like, How are we doing this here? What's the visuals that I'm getting? Virginia. Yeah. It's funny because I worked for an Armenian family. It's almost like, because I know Jannah is the term for heaven, right? Let me confirm. Yeah, that's like the word. It's like getting the Arabic Islamic words for everything. And I know it's like white, like tunic, white pants, white hat sort of thing. Yeah, psychic medium discount on Duolingo. Can you imagine? That's great. It's so funny because Ashburn, Virginia had been coming up a lot, and I'm wondering if he was near there. It's like a somewhat suburb of DC by like Tyson's Corner. And I had to go down, like drive down to DC and that area when I was working in insurance and do some training in that area. And there was a really beautiful mosque that was actually right, I want to say it was in Maryland, right near, it's like right on like the main road when you're going into DC. And that's what I keep picturing. But I will say this, when anyone passes, I always feel like they're okay on the other side. I personally don't believe in a level of like Catholicism where they talk about like purgatory or being stuck. You know, I have respect for all religions and I love them because I think it informs so much about like the way that people speak in different languages and cultural context, and like just helps all of us to be much more curious people. A lot of us were talking about curiosity. But I never want anyone to come into a psychic reading and feel like they're like, oh my gosh, is my family member being like tortured on the other side, which is a weird word to use. I don't really use that word, but like I don't know if there's anything related to that in the like cross-referencing Abrahamic religions of like Catholicism has like a variation of purgatory. But yeah, it's so funny because I feel like he's like that energy of like, so I will, when I'm picturing being connected to the other side, I'll have like layers of how close people want to get. I've had people that feel like they're right here, and it's like he's kind of like on the cloud over there. Like I'm observing, but I'm not absorbing. I want to be a part of it, but like I'm okay to just like, he feels very like businessman, strict, observational, distant, which is also interesting because you said, I think he was from Virginia, and that also leads me to believe that there's like a yearning for closeness energetically, but that he wasn't necessarily like available in the way that a close uncle would be as your mom's brother. It's interesting. Like I think of like how we live on Earth now, and how like Mecca, I don't even know, this is in transparency, I don't even know the geographical location of Mecca. I just know that it's not in this hemisphere and that it's somewhere over there. But it's like that, I almost kind of get that picture thinking about that, where it's like how we're kind of like, growing up, the way that I remember learning about different cultures as a child is like, we all were allowed to exist and we could get immersed in the lifestyle of somebody that was different from us when we traveled. And that's kind of how, like, it's interesting, like having kind of like respect for all. I had somebody ask me on YouTube actually that was like, do you feel that if people are as good as they can be on Earth and you know, be as respectful and loving and it's reminding me because there's somebody, her name is a double N, something Noor, and she was talking about the Nancy Meyersification of Ramadan, and I was listening as I was emptying the dishwasher to like this think piece on TikTok of this woman that's Muslim, and was talking about like Ramadan isn't something like Nancy Meyers is strictly like a director in Hollywood, so it was like Saudi Arabia, thank you. My brain's going in a couple different directions, but like basically like the having the respect for like what it is, and it's like not having to make something palatable for somebody else, but also like the conflict of like, if it opens a dialogue to somebody who wouldn't have been exposed to like a lifestyle different from theirs had they not entered it into that through that context of like a white person who loves Nancy Meyers movies, myself being one of those people, but like I also know about Ramadan and have Muslim friends. So it's a little bit different, but it's kind of interesting. What all that to say that what I kind of pictured is like when you're in a museum and like you go to all these different exhibits, but they all exist under the context of the museum. Like, you know, the dinosaurs are no better than the, you know, Egyptian exhibit or whatever. You just are immersing yourself in a different area. It's like, I don't know why that feels relevant, but I just thought to say that as I was thinking about his energy. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry, you know, is like or like worrying about it's, and I think being, you know, are you the oldest as well, or just like you are, if not the oldest, the most responsible? It's like there's a lot of pressure, and I don't know if you're Muslim or like of, you know, like that's like I was baptized Lutheran, but I'm not like a practicing Catholic, you know, but it's still like culturally within your dynamic. And I worked in a facility at one point that was run by a bunch of Egyptians that were born, most of them born there and then came here, and some of the women that they knew from, you know, like family and everything, and like watching the energetics of a Muslim woman, or just like a woman that was raised by like a devout Muslim woman. Third child of 4. That's so funny. That's funny that my grandmother came through, because both my grandmother that I was thinking about, and my grandpa that I mentioned were both the third child of 4 as well. They both were the third child of 4 that married a third child of 4. So that's so funny. But yeah, you know, and I wonder, like, in your family, your dynamic of 4, like, what is as through your mom's passing, like, what is what's the split, you know? And there never is like an even split in, you know, when somebody's capable, and also people handling death so differently. So I'd be curious, you know, we don't always have to put the pressure on ourselves to make up for people who don't know better, because we know better. And that applies to everybody here for many different reasons, right? I want you to reflect on how that like affects you in your own life. That's good. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, it's so funny. So you're an honorary first child by association. Yeah, don't put so much pressure on yourself to, there is no perfect, and feeling like you have to get every piece of this process right as you're also grieving. And I think that having a little bit of grace, and like not commiserating or finding a level of grieving that's not about talking what the other siblings aren't or are doing, is going to be helpful too. Because, you know, I think it was Eloise that you were was talking about on the left hand side. She's yeah, there you go, Eddie, welcome back. An only child, and, you know, like, I don't have a relationship with my younger brother, right? Like, I have love for him as my brother, but like, you could be away from me, and it makes you feel like you're an only child. Like, having siblings doesn't necessarily mean that you like have siblings in like the Americana way, but I also like, I know, you know, my brother's situation and how he is, and I don't, you know, necessarily blame him for it, although I could. But it's like, at the end of the day, that's how I chose to navigate that relationship, you know? So I think that also when people are grieving, it's also complex in the way, and now dealing with any kind of like estate lawyers, if that's a thing, or anything along those lines. Yeah, you're all close. And I think, like, listen, if you have that wish and that's your desire, you can kind of think about like, what are the ways that you can facilitate that. And maybe it's just like physical closeness that you mean, like they just live in other places, but, you know, give yourself that ability to try if that's a need for you during this time especially. So, you know, I always love old pictures and things along those lines, and really being able, I'm always looking through old photo albums or making scrapbooks or things like that to like honor my ancestors. I have all my grandparents that are over there, and a picture of me and my grandma, my little pseudo altar space. you know, just as a way to kind of like honor them and keep them present in my life. So I think that that also can be a way, or just asking, sending pictures of your loved ones to your siblings. It can help too. It's funny, AI summary, exploring family dynamics and the burdens of being the oldest child. It's interesting that it gives us that too. I'm like, what does it think that we're talking about, or what variation of what we're talking about? But yeah, but let me know if you guys have any conversations or things that you'd like to discuss in reference to that. But yeah, Virginia, just to kind of close with your uncle, I don't think that he, you know, you don't have to worry about anything being wrong on the other side. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are not lonely. Yes, exactly. You guys are so cute. I don't know, is my Pisces still here? You were asking about, your name started with an N. Hold on, I'll get back to it. Something about Virgo being the ruling planet. Unique. Will you be covering Mercury as the dominating planet? Yeah, the dominating planet would, to me, I translate that to your chart ruler, so the ruler of your rising sign. Or do you mean that, like, because we have Mercury retrograde right now? If you're still here. But yeah, you're so welcome. I'm thinking of you. You have a lot of people supporting you. Oh, my hubby has a half sister and basically helped raise his nieces because of reasons. Yeah, I already get it. Yeah, I know. Hi, Bree. How are you? Welcome. Yeah, family can be complex for sure, but it's interesting when you look at it in the lens of like spirituality and astrology too. But yeah, we are going through a Mercury retrograde right now. Oh wow, damn girl. So you're like, you feel, I get it. I just get it. I have my friend, so I have a friend Dev, that actually went to India for a wedding, and because of what happened politically, this morning, literally got stuck at the airport. And she's the only person that I know that's a quadruple split personally. I've read for a few others, but it literally is like, you have to give yourself a little bit of time before you're making a decision. Although you give me the energy of like being an impulsive person. So I wonder if like you have had like it's like coming in with like the gloves on, like like that. Like, where in Staten Island are you from? It's like, I'm gonna I'm not I'm not necessarily gonna seek out confrontation now in my life, but like I'm not gonna shy away from it if I need to defend myself, you know. Yes, building your own version of family, totally. And that like a variation of our family that we want lives inside of us always. Like in the Delulu part of Pisces, that's actually helpful. Yeah. But yeah, Brie, let me know if you have questions about that too. If there's anything that like with being a quadruple split, I'm happy to help. But I always say like ask 3 then me. It's like ask 3 and then talk to somebody else. Books really do pay off. But yeah, your chosen family, and I think that's what we're all learning and have this desire as a part of counterculture, to be a person who understands their role in community as an individual and like how we affect other people around us collectively. I'm always looking at like, I never am somebody that ever wants to bring a negative flair, but I'm also not somebody that looks to sweep things under the rug either. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, my page is a good place to be. I'm definitely a Human Design 101 type teacher. So if you go, like when you have your chart, I have a bunch of pinned playlists starting with like a 5-part series about energy types. And that's on my pinned playlist. So time you have any questions, if you want to leave a comment, I'm a man-gen, so I use comments to respond as to which kind of new pieces of content that I make. I want to get back into making like at least another post, a few days a week in response to some of your videos to help you guys. So that's there. But yay, new mom! Aw, congratulations. Yeah, triple split too. It's literally like ask 3 people that you trust to get like variations of perspective and then make a decision. Usually a triple split is going to have an emotional authority, or quadruple, but not always. Yeah. Hi, King Piscean. How are you? Happy belated or happy almost birthday? But yeah, I definitely find that with human design, like a lot more people are talking about it. And what scares me a little bit is like, and what I'll also say, like if any of you guys are like looking to do a spiritual business, you don't have to create a whole new set of characteristics. Like I had to get over that, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do human design, but like there's nothing wrong with me that like I didn't create human design, and I became a much better person, reader, confidence, like because it's what I bring to human design that makes me interesting, not whether or not I created human design. So I also say that to people who are in that space of like, oh, I didn't create this, like is it valid? Like it's, you know, not getting paranoid about that at the beginning of your career journey. Yes, happy almost. Yes, I love that. But yeah, it's very dense. It's like drinking through a fire hose is the way that I describe it. But the best thing I could say, Bree, is that when you're starting with your energy, your human design, the more that you can learn about your energy type, your strategy, and your authority, everything else is like a domino. I personally really love incarnation crosses. Like that's the piece that holds an affinity for me. So I've made a lot of content about that over the last like 3.5 years I've been on TikTok. But yeah, I definitely, and then just go like, it's an experiment, right? So it's like when you're looking at the chart and you just can say like, what do I want to explore today? What do I want to Google today? And then the best thing that you can do is figure out how to apply it in, you know, to real life context too. Yeah, I just put multiple systems together and poke them. Exactly. Do something, give me data. Exactly. I mean, I'm a 1-3 profile. So for me, it's like, okay, how do I give you a good solid foundation? And then we can have fun from there. But if we don't know the basics, we can't really grow upon something that doesn't have like realistic legs, if that makes sense. Like I was talking to somebody recently who was like attempting to make content about human design as they were trying to build something else, and I was like, listen, like it's not it you like I love the work that you're doing, but it's clear that it's like you don't know what you're talking about, and you're afraid that people will notice, so therefore we can see that, you know, like there is like it's like that nervousness of like, oh, I'm like not really hitting the nail on the head, and it becomes like kind of like a game of telephone sometimes. So it's like learning through experience and watching how these transits or placements like affect or exhibit themselves in real people in real time can also be helpful. I think that there's a lot of what's happened in the spiritual community is like we need to go back to basics in a lot of sense of the world, but like also remember, and the same can be said about human design, right? Like I think people like to use the argument of like, oh, it's new agey and like it's all like all these new systems, but what I like about it is that I can go back to all of these different, yes, human design, that's a human design chart is what we're looking at here. But I can go back to different cultural modalities to give myself the basis and then learn from there. So human design is a combination of a bunch of different systems. The I Ching, this is the book that I use for the I Ching, Hindu Brahmin chakra system, Tree of Life, Kabbalah. So that's like the part that interests me, is that it's not like an erasure of different culture and spiritual modalities, but rather like an honoring in a condensed way where like I can learn a lot really quickly and then go down the rabbit hole, which like the man gen part of me that wants to learn really quick enjoys. Because I've been reading charts for 10 years now. So, you know, for me, it's like I wanted to give me something that keeps me engaged always. And pivoting within like one discipline is really nice. So just a little bit more offshoots on my soapbox about that. Yeah, happy belated. Long distance is slowly becoming too. I feel like I'm a supervisor on like your date. Like I'm like a chaperone right now. Yeah. Like, okay, kids, you're doing good. Okay, cool. I'll be over here. Yeah, fly as high as you can, but you need a place to take off from land. Exactly. And I think that's with a lot of manifesting generators, like overshooting. And like the mistake that I made is that I was like, when I was doing human design work as I was in arts and music management, like the worst thing I ever did for myself is plan a human design event as I had a show coming up and was doing curatorial work, because there's so much nuance that happens under just one experience that is like curating a show or, you know, doing a human design event, that like it dilutes the impact of either experience. So it's like really leaning in very quickly to one thing, but like then you can pivot through faster. Hi, Irise, how are you? Another beautiful manifestor has entered the villa. Hello, hello. Gemini, there you go. But yeah, so I definitely find that word to the wise of like doing that. Yeah, literally. Saturnian lessons of efficient energy. Yes, it's definitely like a learned art, and like you have to trust yourself that it's not, hi Jenny, it's not anything that's meant for you isn't going to lose you. So I noticed a lot of people get really hyped up about like, but if I don't do both these things right now with as much intensity, that I'm gonna lose it. But it's like, no, you can go back to it from a much more grounded place, you know, and then you actually like get the results, you know, that you want. I've had a couple people come to me, and it's like recently, and looking for spiritual, like a mentorship really, when it comes to like a business lens, and they're like still delusional in the lens of like, well, this is what I want to get paid. So if I just say that I want to get paid 20 grand per person, then that means if I think it, then it'll happen. And a variation of that is true, but like if you're trying to do that, it requires a specific nurture sequence, or like it's in a specific place with a specific client that is not something that, like, you know, on Instagram, not necessarily going to be your people that are, you know, people that are paying you quickly $20,000 that are decisive people are not people that are spending their time on Instagram, sort of thing. So it's like finding people in the right places and spaces is also important. Yeah, it's been an intense few months and I'm growing through it. Yes, oh my gosh, I feel for you. Especially with the 0 degrees of Aries. That's really knocking people for a loop. Oh, yeah, or Scorpio ruling your 7th perfected year is helping. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you have Aries somewhere, right? I want to say Aries rising. I've gotten a lot of Libra risings recently. Yeah, you know, Eddie, you're so sweet. I know it's a lot in a very short period of time, but anything that like you feel intuitively called to ask more about, feel free. Oh, Aries rising and Saturn, there you go. Aries, Stellium, Sun, Venus, and Mars. Okay, yeah, all my Aries folks today. Let me make sure. Yeah, I find that, what was I gonna say? Yeah, a lot of my Aries placements are like trying to like manage a variation of like healthy fight or flight. Like, is this the time to go, you know, full speed ahead, or is this the time to kind of be like, okay, I'm chilling a little bit? And that, you know, it's impulse control, calculated risk. There's another word that instant gratification. That's a big one right now. We're going to see a lot of that, not just for Aries, but it's like, that's what everyone is struggling with. Like I have a lot of people because of the spiritual space that come to me with an emotionally charged need. And I'm like, listen, I'm not a DM person. And also like people pay me for this work almost every single day. So I'm like, you don't get to skip the line just because you have a need that like you believe that I need to solve for you because of what you believe about your perception of the type of work that I do and the way that I do it. Yeah, exactly. No, not so off topic. It's pretty interesting. I have to like go back and look at my old notes. I have some old recordings. And I definitely, I mean, how I look at it, Jenny, is like, it's basically from an art historical context. It's the way that he's energetically explaining the shifts that happen when we have great advancements as a society. So I think that some of the things that he said seem a little too out there for me, but also not everything. I also believe in it, like that we are in the precipice of that change, which is why we all kind of feel like the other shoe is going to drop. This age that we're ending is the technological age. So at the beginning of like the age that we're in now was the like industrial age, the beginning of like printing press, light bulb, and now we have advanced so far in technology where it's like, what is this new age or era, you know, for the next X hundred years going to be called, because we've advanced so far with technology. So it's like, this is where we see like a variation of an offshoot of what he's talking about is like advancements in AI, you know, and those kinds of things. So yeah. But I want to go back so I know what points to speak on a little bit more groundedly, because I like human design, but I don't pay attention just to Ra'urahu, if that makes sense. Like he was a conduit for the work, but it's like a lot. I don't like find a need to like treat him like a guru in that way. I actually, this is so funny. I had somebody, because I was at the yoga wellness Philly event at the Ritz-Carlton in Philadelphia this past weekend. It was a week today. And I had a lady that got signed up for my reading, because I guess they did a giveaway that like I didn't know about, which is like very like true Mercury retrograde fashion. I don't like, you know, when people don't tell me what they're doing with my readings, but it ended up being where like I was like, oh, she didn't come up for her time slot in the room that I was in, and I was like, okay, let me find her before I leave, because I want to do right, you know, she still paid for this, or they're paying me for it, so I want to make sure the transaction is complete. And she emailed me, you know, in the middle of the night a couple nights ago, and was like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, like my guru said that you know, I'm not supposed to do this reading. And I'll be damned if some man that I'm paying to help me tells me if something else that I feel that I would want to do to better myself isn't in alignment. And immediately I was like, in between the lines, I was like, oh, like someone who's afraid that another reader is going to take their client away from them. Like that's all that is. And I'm like, this is like a middle-aged woman who like is in, hi Ellington, is in that era. And it's like, please don't fucking become obsessed with booking with me all the time. I have an aversion to that. Like that's the ick for me. Like truly, you want to give me the ick, be obsessed with getting readings with me all the time. Like it's like I'm whatever the anti-guru is how I feel. And we all feel that way. Like that's the whole point, is that like, because I'm not worried about keeping an adult stuck in a system. I know that there are kids that are turning 18, 15, whatever, that are going to have questions in 3 years, and I'm worried about them. But like, I don't want to be 65 asking the same guru the same 12 questions because I'm an adult that's too afraid to do the work. You know, like that's the way that I perceive this work. You know, so it's like I'll probably make more posts about it. I mean, it's definitely in my hi Johnny. It's in my DNA for my perfection year ahead, but I've always felt that way. And you know, there's a lot of people that like, I think I'm the only person that's talking about that on the internet. And it's like, no, you're not. It's just like, the people that actually think this way aren't worried about like the people, like proving the people wrong that do. Yeah. It was just kind of like, I was like embarrassed. Like I would be embarrassed, honestly, to be at that point in my life and you know, acting that way, you know, or give it like, it's not, I don't want to take the power away. My job is like, here you go. Here's who you are. Have fun. When you have a technological issue, then call me and we'll workshop it. But like, I like technical questions. I don't like, I want to teach you how to use it as like a tool where you come to me for like a software update, not like a fundamental question about like existence in that way, if that makes sense. Like I don't know how to put it into words at this moment because I've been yapping for almost 2 hours, but yeah, exactly. Like I just don't know. It's like I grew up with having to be my mom's mom. I don't need to do that in my professional life. Yeah. You keep people oriented. You don't walk the path for them. Yeah. There's a Dr. Ike that I really love. She's a creator on here, and she's a psychologist, and something she said recently really stuck with me, and I feel the exact same way. It's like, I don't care about your situation more than you. I care about it when you bring it to me, But like, if you keep coming like back to me about like your husband that you can't deal with, like, I'm not interested in reading for like why you don't have a man for the 85th time, when like you're the common denominator now at this point is you. So like, take some time to self-reflect outside of what my perception of you is. Like, I don't need to get paid for that. But there are people that run their businesses and 10x their months because they keep people in this, hi Roni, they keep people in this like that cycle. But like, we're growing out of that. Like, I don't want to be around that. There's people who target, middle-aged women of business owner husbands because they have the capital, and those people are adult babysitters about spirituality, and it's under the guise of like coming back home to yourself. Like, shut up. Like, I don't, like, that's how I feel. Like, ew, like, what is that? Like, that's not doing anything to progress us as a society. Like, I don't want to babysit an adult. I would nanny for some rich family in New York City, and if that's what I wanted to be my job. But like, I don't like that succubus energy, and it's not gonna last. Like, that's all what's coming out in the wash right now, and we're seeing it in like macro and micro spaces. But it's like, that's part of the aversion of the spiritual space that people don't it's why we have the ick, but it's like having a hard time putting the words to the ick, essentially. So it's like, I'm teaching you how to use a tool, but like, I don't want, like, again, Dr. Ike's words, I don't want to care about your situation more than you. Come to me because you want like help in understanding something, or I'm a fairy woman of some variation of assistance. But it's like, if being the teacher, like, it's like the way that I see it for how I see myself as a guide in a healthy way, like a practical guide, is that like, I'm a teacher that knows that I am teaching people for their for freshman year English, right? I know that there are kids that will enroll in the school next year, so I'm not worried about keeping these kids held back a year so I still have students. That's the distinction that we're making right now. I don't need to hold you back because I'm afraid that I won't get enough kids enrolled in my class next year. If I'm good at what I do and I make it a point to know my craft and make myself a good person to be around, right? Because that's even lost, as we know. So we find each other on the internet because we walk around and we're like, what is happening out here in this world? But like, be worried about being a good fucking person, and somebody that's enjoyable to be around, not just somebody who's trying to sell somebody a $10,000 course. It's in big bold red letters on the first page of my website when you go to it. Like, I'm not, it's dried up, it's done. It's the multi-level marketing scheme, beach body, iron and chisel, like, of the spiritual world in 2026. And so the extraction of that is really important. Like, energetic waste of time, both you all. And yes, exactly. You take the mature step and set boundaries because your clients aren't commodities to you. Yeah, exactly. It's like we have a thing that we agreed to work on together. But like, again, the best way that I can describe it is like, I'm not interested in sitting with another adult and like babysitting your problems, or like ruminating over the same thing, because I'm not a therapist, right? Like, therapists, or people who deal with people that deal with like rumination or OCD or things along those lines, are paid to work with that type of individual. And that's where, like, because this is an unregulated field, there's people who have historically, and still do, capitalize on that type of behavior. And also people who don't, because they think and they're going into it with versions of a good intention, they don't even realize that they're doing it going into that. And so it's like having the awareness of like, I had somebody that said the other day, like, I followed you for a year before, I booked with you. And I was like, good, because I'm the same way. Like, I want to know that this person is there and they're available and they know what they're talking about and they're consistent and they have respect for all and they have integrity. Like, I'm glad you waited a year, like, that's not like a, I don't feel some type of way about that whatsoever. Eddie, yeah, I will consider you to be my reader in a spiritual sense. Yeah, listen, I'm happy to help. Good mindset, thank you. Yeah. Eddie, oh yeah, say Brenna here is a good question to ask. In our human knowledge, we have 12 signs. Ooh, yeah, I know. I've talked about that. I want to take a course or learn more about like the 13th zodiac because I personally don't know enough to speak on it. But I want to learn more about like sidereal and Vedic and all of that too. But I honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care if you believe in human design or not. Like, it's just the tool that I found that expressed my internal monologue the most clearly for how I felt about myself. Like, if you want to do sidereal, amazing. If you want to do Vedic, amazing. But like, it's like, if you are Muslim, if you are Catholic, amazing. Like, whatever makes you live your life in a way that's like you feel good about yourself, you feel confident, and you want to uplift rather than hurt, like, that's my jam. Whatever way you get there is fine, you know, but I don't, the discipline or the avenue is like, to me, yeah, irrelevant. It's like, that's a lot of what I tone out, or people I just remove it completely from my For You page, is anyone who's like, this is the only way that you should do it. And it's like, okay, like that, I don't like to be like yelled at, you know, like we're like, so many millennials are no contact with their parents because their parents told them what to do, and like their life was a mess. So, you know, yeah, I'm not, that's like my rebelliousness with, hi Chelsea, and I'll read your guys' comment in a second. My rebelliousness with authority comes through as like, if the adults or the elders in my life let me down and I had to figure out my own way and now I know better than you, then like, it's not a disrespect issue when I don't trust you to give me good advice. Like, I don't admire people whose lives I don't admire in some way. You know, like I want, like, I look up to people that are peers or younger than me that like are, like, I respect the way that they live their life because they lived it honestly and with integrity and like have that. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm self-employed, you know, like I remember I had my old boss that was like working with me in insurance, and like he couldn't understand why I didn't always have like this position of authority for him, because he would also come in with x-rays of his swimmers telling me about his fertility issues with his wife, and I was like 23 like working this little, or 24, like working this side job in insurance, and I was like, so like I like, but like you broke the barrier there, so like what do you expect, how do you expect me to perceive you, you know? Like I don't know, bro, like can we just talk about this car? Like you know, the invisible labor of a spiritual person. Yeah, that's literally me and getting readings. Yeah, and to the point I gain knowledge for myself. Exactly. My hubby said constantly as HR. Yeah, exactly. He's not a therapist. Exactly. It's just like yeah, I mean, we're seeing like the total shift. And at the end of the day, like, it's not that spiritual readings will ever go away. It's one of the oldest jobs in history, but it's like knowing who, like going when you have an intention or when you need clarity or affirmation. But like nobody should be making you feel like inferior in that way, or not, like you haven't had a context clue about what it is that you're facing or looking to create. You know, it's like a affirmative, not to a detriment, but like, how do we're trimming the fat together. Get it from me, because they were there during the busy times. Yes. And not see how modifications that was needed to be efficient. Yeah, that's like a biggest thing, right? Like, as the generator's manager, like being really good at your craft. It's like not, yeah, please do, Eddie. This is my chart generator on my website. It's free. So, and I use these charts to write the curatorial copy and the bios for the artists that I worked with. That's part of how I practiced. But yeah, both are relevant. So just let me know. Yeah, however it is that you want to use it. I'm happy to look at it through that lens. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be here for another like 15-20 minutes or so please feel free. But yeah, how you use readings, why you use readings. Like, I just had someone that has booked with me like once a year, and it's like, okay, like I've gone through this lore, like how would I attack this problem through human design? Like, I like those types of readings, like those where it's like, okay, you're taking an educated guess, you're not like raising your hand and saying like, I don't know how to do math, I'm scared. Like, that's what like low effort spaces are for, these types of spaces, and I'm happy to help the beginner. But like, I'm not like the DM person that's like that wants to talk about like romance issues and is my ex coming back during Mercury retrograde, you know? Those type of people, I'm like, oh, my readings are available in my bio, and then they never book because that wasn't their intention, you know? You just start to sniff out the types. I keep reading about 2027. Yeah. So it's not that it'll be non-existent, it's that basically how, like, it's the year of the fire horse. Like, we're evolving into a new era of time. Jenny was just asking about that too. I want to go back to my old notes about and I have different recordings and teachings that I got from the International Human Design School about Rahu. But I have a sacral authority. Like, so much shit has happened this year that, like, I'm worried about 2027. Like, give me till, like, July. But long story short, it's not that, like, you'll just disappear or, you know, transcend off the face of the planet. But it's, like, the advancement of, like, technological age society as we know it, projectors becoming more efficient and being, like, the new CEOs of the world, in Jen Zoe's words. Like, a lot of that... we've advanced so far as a human society that, like, what's the next era gonna look like with the advancements of technology, AI, those kinds of things. But yeah, I have to kind of do a little bit of, like, a reconnaissance mission to know what are the big claims that he's making, because I know he was also talking about, like, we're not going to be able to digest meat, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that, but is it, like, are we talking about, like, Beyond Beef type shit, or are we talking about, like, having to go back to, like I talk about, like, going in on half a cow and buying from the local farmer, you know, like that kind of thing. So I want to dissect in my true 1-3 fashion more so that I'll know more about what he's talking about. But I don't think that it's, like, an exact equation of, like, you just won't exist anymore. But the way that you express your energy will be different. I think that's why so many people are, yeah, I know I shouldn't, but I resent being a projector, a lifetime I've ignored until now. Yeah, grief not Gucci. What is it that you want invitations for, and what do you want to be recognized for? It's honestly what it comes back to is confidence. Like, anyone who doesn't see your worth, isn't somebody worth, like, getting an invitation from anyway. I'm a manifesting generator, but 2 of my channels are projector-like, and I'm an Aquarius rising. I always said, like, when I was in a group of people, like going out with my girlfriends, no guys ever came up to me. But when I would go out alone, or I would do something that I like to do and I wasn't thinking about meeting somebody, that's when guys would come up to me. So it's like those kinds, it's almost like that kind of energy with being a projector. Yeah. I trust you with readings, Runner, because you know what you're talking about, which is why I have my interest. Oh, I love that. Yeah, about what you saying on the readings. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. That means everything to me. Aw. But yeah, can I give a shout out to the 1-3s because you all do the hard work for the rest of us? Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're the research nerds, Chelsea. It's like we research all the things. So I'm like, here are the cliff notes. It's like you know, in school how we used to do, like I was the kid in the class that actually did the summer reading, and then I'd be like, here's what you need to know for, like, what the questions that they're gonna ask, like, when we go back into school. It's like I'm the cliff note book writer, but it's like I truly, like, am like, what exactly do you have to know? That's why people who are long-winded, I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I know what I'm in this for. I know what people actually want to hear. And, like, I don't care about, like, these long-winded explanations because usually it's just long-winded explanations to try to sell you on something that somebody isn't confident that they're doing anyway, you know, or, like, even if it's not an actual monetized sell, it's like an energetic sell. Yeah, it's, like, painful. Like, I'm bored. It's so Aquarius Mercury of me. Yeah, Benny's behind my laptop right now in the sunspot, so that's why he's pushing the camera over for my YouTube folks. Your 5-2 is the one who step up and lead the group project. Yes, exactly. And Manny's like that too. It's like shoving the papers in the backpack, and then we come out and are like I was the one that always had the pen for everybody in school. And, like, you know, I cared for my folderless friends or the ones that had the one notebook for everything where I was like, and I had this as my color for this and, you know, all those kinds of things. But yeah. And we all serve our role, right? Like, I don't want to, yes, exactly. Like, I don't want to be, like, I have my moments where I am, like, the talent, right? Like, I am aware of my presence as, like, somebody that has been a talent manager, but also has, like, the energetics of like knowing the time and the place, but I'm not worried about having to always like be the only singer on the red carpet. Also, I just got the intrusive thought of Jim Carrey. Just gonna put that out there. Who the fuck is that? If you guys have seen what I'm talking about, you know. Because who the fuck is that? Because that is not Jim Carrey. I don't know what happened, but yeah. I've been iffy about the whole weird cloning thing, but yeah. Yes, exactly. My HE teacher. Oh yeah, so that I used to know my circle of friends. I love that. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm a real person, and I think like I've had so many people. I even had somebody that paid me thousands of dollars for mentorship, and then I was like, oh, like why are you so weird? Like, and you feel like you came to me for mentorship and you were looking for advice. And then I was like, oh, you work for another human design person, and now I see the entirety like of how I do my program in 8 weeks that's on somebody else's website. Got it. So you didn't actually want advice. You just, it cost the XYZ much for my intellectual property. But it's like that shit I can't stand in this space. Like that's that competitive shit that like, if you actually even took 30 fucking seconds of intentional thought to think about everything that this stands for, it's like you can't, like nothing is lost if you follow what you want to be doing, or what desires on your heart. It's just a matter of like the strategy that takes you there, Yeah, I love that. Yeah, like I'm passing the baton. I love that. Because I don't need to talk to your friends. You talk to your friends. That's why they're your friends in your corner of the world, Yeah. But it's like emulate, it's one of the oldest cop-outs in energetic history, like trying to be like, oh, that person knows what they're talking about. If I do it, then I'm gonna enjoy it. And it's like inspiration versus like, trying to do a whole destiny swap. It doesn't work. I think, even destiny swapping, I don't really like. People can like fuck up your path for a little while. It's like they gave you a flat tire, but you're still going down the same road. Hi, social. Excuse me, burp of affirmation. Yeah, no, I know Selena Gomez. Yeah, same. Yeah, but I don't know. Let me know if you guys have any like last minute questions before I hop off. But yeah, $1,000. Yeah, well, it was. They didn't tell me that that's what they were going into mentorship with. Like they applied, like somebody who actually wanted mentorship with me, and then we were in mentorship, and it was like 4 weeks in, like halfway through, and I was like, what is going on here? Like I am cautiously optimistic. I have my barriers in place that protect myself, but like I'm also like, that's a lot of work and like money to like waste your own damn time for something that isn't going to work for a client that you think that you can give results to, but it's like reheating my nachos. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm glad it helped. Like, I'm happy to help, and but it's like, it's the lack of, like, I will never talk to you again or support you after I've seen that somebody has ripped off something that I've done. We won't talk. I'll be cordial, but it's like, you're somebody, you could be you, but away from me. Like, I claim no negative energy in that space, but like, I will never engage. I won't like anything that you do. Like, my energy is removed. Like, I'm good. I'm not supporting anybody that's trying to reheat somebody else's nachos. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, it's tired. Like, aren't we like, and I think like people also like are also just not as self-aware sometimes as they think that they are. And it's, yeah, I think like you have to have a level of like humbleness and humility in any kind of spiritual space to like always be learning, and not everybody, it's the over assumption because of the guru era that like you have to create a hierarchy, and it's different. Like I like people to have respect, and I respect people who respect me back, but like I just don't give that without like how do I word it? I treat everybody with respect, but like I don't want to create like hierarchy. There's respect that I know my subject, and I have a level of like skills that I want people to appreciate and respect me for, and like, give credit where credit is due, but that's not outshining anything anyone else is doing. Hi, Guala. And I think that's a lot of what we're learning to extract in this kind of space too. So, um, yeah, but we'll see. It's like having these conversations more publicly is what's important too, so people kind of know like the lay of the land, and do like I said, I spent a lot of time doing my business online last year, but I also felt the craving to go out in person because like I wanted that like differentiation of space and just to give myself a little bit more of a fresher perspective on like I know what's happening here in the TikTok version of spirituality, but what's also happening out in the real wide world. Have you ever thought about doing a series of comparing how incarnation crosses work together? Yeah, I could definitely do that. I haven't. Usually just because it's like if you wanted me to do something about it, I would do it. I could also make that one of our weekly tips in Patreon too. If you wanted me to look at, because there's 888 different variations of them. So it's like more niche specific than like something that the more like novice human design person would necessarily understand, so it just depends. Yeah, I think because you guys have more of like informed awareness of that. Yeah, respect first before anything else. You said it correct, Brenna. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, respect is a big thing, and I think it's been wonky because a lot of us growing up now haven't been able to rely on a lot of our elders, in the way that we should have been able to. And so it has led to a miscommunication in treating people that are in the same industries that have something to offer, and making them think that being like the same age means that you're the ones who get it, the ones who don't. Oh yeah, Rain and Go Cross. Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, when it comes to like people juxtaposition. Bye, Nini. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I thought you said bye. I'll be saying bye in a moment. So Siddharth and Eloise, just to prepare you. Hi, Blanca. Connection in relationship. So here's the thing, and this is where free will comes into play. In the words of Dita Von Teese, you can be the ripest, juiciest peach and someone still won't like peaches. Some will just be biologically allergic and they just can't consume you. Right? So it's like that also like is a nuance or context for how we have to look at this work and any type of spirituality, is that someone could be the best for you on paper, but the way that they enact on it is honestly, everything, so much of what I see as like the core overarching theme is always just a lack of self-trust and self-confidence. I'm also gate 63, gate of doubt, Pisces sun. So like that's always going to be a flavor or like a societal kind of like sieve, if you will, for me. But I try to look at it as objectively as possible. But if you have, a right angle cross, like it's why my energy is very like insular, if that makes sense. Like I don't have a lot of like, I have like, what is it called? Like an intrinsic motivator. I am inspired by different people. I love like, learning new things, but other people's energy doesn't change what I do, right? Like I don't look at what other human design readers are posting about per se, and then create my content around that. I know I want to talk about human design, but I am interested in incarnation crosses, so that's what I'll talk about as an example. Left angle cross people have more people. Like I read for more left angle cross people than I do right angle cross people. Behind Aquarius, yeah. I feel that. I'm like, I guess that's what we're here for. It's honestly, the energy for me is like, you know better than that. Like you could do better than that. Like why are we sitting here? Like I know that you're too cool for that, and so do you. So like let's do better together. Because I can't do it by myself. I could. I have to, but I'm struggling to meet everybody that I have to meet because we need other people. I say this also, Gabe, because I was thinking about like juxtaposition crosses can teach us how to live a lighter life. Some of the most insufferable people that I've met are juxtaposition crosses because they're the energetic equivalent of phlegm when they are not allowing themselves to express joy. Oh, there you go. Yes, big three is Aqua. That's so funny. I'm an Aquarius rising, so I understand. But it's like it's just that like it is so, and it's phlegm that you can avoid by blowing your nose, but they want to pretend like they have never come into contact with the tissue before. Like that, it's that type of energy. It's like, woe is me, but that again, it doesn't have to be that way, but it's the way that it expresses themselves in that regard. So hi IQ. Yeah, drop a question. I'm happy to answer before I sign off. I am gonna run upstairs for a second and refill my water bottle, and then I'll come back and I'll stay on. So ask whatever questions you have, and I can talk a little bit more about incarnation crosses in the interim too. I'm from North America, but I'll be right back. Okay. Oh God, we're back. Okay, so let me answer my. This is my little pick me up of the afternoon. My 3 p.m. sweet treat. Those of you who have been with me for a long time remember, like that's like this is a consistent in my life of a ritual. Okay, it's 3 messages long. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I desperately need insight. I can't find anyone that has been able to give me insight, and I've been looking on and off for years. It's specifically a short story about a paranormal experience I had. Is that okay? Yeah, absolutely. It's 3 messages long. Yeah, if you want to pop it in the chat search, feel free, and then I'll take a look. Hold on. Oh, Artemis, what a cutie. Hey, I feel like his energy is around you so much. That's so cute. Oh, happy birthday, Shelby. You guys are so sweet. Yes, my birthday's Monday. So this is the start of my birthday weekend. The gate 63 gives me away sometimes, but let me see. Yeah, drifting realities. Yes, as a Pisces, I feel like that is all the time. Yeah, I've known for well, yes, for a year. Thank you guys. Yeah. Oh yeah, Lex. About Peanut who passed away in a crash I was in. Oh my gosh. Was this a cat of yours? Like, I wanted to say like an animal in a carrier. I'm so sorry, Lex. Oh my god. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the wishes. I feel very grounded. I'm glad to be out of my 8th house perfection year. That shit is annoying. Not unfamiliar, just like, oh, I've done this before, you know? I'll wait until all of your messages come through search, and then I'll read them all together so I can kind of lock in. Aw. Favorite name? Artemis is such a good name. Yeah. In 3rd house, I'm not feeling it. Yeah, well, I feel like it also just, like, it's so, apropos with Mercury retrograde, too, because the 3rd and 9th house is a lot to do with, like, communication and your family and, like, kind of like everything that comes before has something to do with what comes after. And so it's like, who is getting in the way of your peace, basically, is a lot of 3rd house energy. My Saturn, yeah, oh my god, next year. Honestly, for me, like, I was going through an 8th house perfection year as I was going through my Saturn return, right? Which is like, it happened. So it's like, that's gonna be for people, it's not uncommon, right? But it's like that, like, was just like a lot at one time. I could handle it, you know, like, I've done my due diligence to know what's in my toolbox and build that, but it was still just like, ugh, like, exhausting, you know? Yeah. It's it's like all these little offshoots that give us the same energy too. Sailor Moon, I love Sailor Moon. Okay, let me read search here. So to begin with, my grandmother used to take my mother and her sister to an abandoned thermometer factory for seances when I was a young kid, and my mom was in the occult. Is your I wanted to say Santeria. Are you of like Latino at all? In 2016, I was talking to somebody on Facebook, and all of a sudden I felt weird energy shift, and he started sending me very weird messages saying things like, I'm a Capricorn, I ain't effing around. It's so weird, because I was just gonna say, like, the worst person that you can ever, like, one of the most annoying people you could ever deal with is a Capricorn or a Capricorn rising who refuses to put in effort to anything that they do. You have 2 options. Continue talking to me or I'll see you on the news. Ooh, do whatever. I mean, that is the direct threat. So, like, spirituality aside, like, I don't know if did you know this person or not? Twilight doesn't care about you. Oh, and the power went out, and a feeling I had. I mean, I don't practice black magic, but I know that black magic exists. You know, but black magic, for people who practice that know more about it, you have to give, it's a variation of alchemy. Oh, Capricorn, that's right, yes. Orange orb. Oh, wow. I'm still reading your messages as they're coming through. Yeah. I just like I know a lot of people, and I know a couple moms that had used to practice like a darker variation of black magic, and they were like, yeah, now that I have children, like I would never, like, you run the risk. And I think like that speaks to, yeah, exactly. I don't need to be like that in it, if that makes sense, you know. It's like a Ouija board. Like I know enough to not, like, I don't need to deal with it. But yeah. Hacked and my job title was changed on to anti. Oh, interesting. I'm just so confused. Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's probably something that you said in your, if I had to guess, like in your messaging of this person on Facebook that like if you're telling people your cat's names online, don't use your cat's name in any of your passwords. Like those, there's probably something that you said that was like that person was phishing for personal data and did have malicious intent and just like to be on the internet in that way. And like and you know, maybe was able to hack what you were doing for some reason. That's why, like, you know, again, as a millennial that's been on the internet for a long time, like you have to take like certain precautionary measures to like those cute little quizzes that are like it'll be asking you all this like information like personal, are usually a hacker's like Facebook friendly way to like trick your boomer mom into like giving out personal data. So like that also can exist outside of like a darker context. It's creepy because you're not going into the conversation thinking of that, but like you have to like do that kind of like protection, you know. But you know, I would just say like whatever practice you feel called to. If you're Christian, if you like to pray, you know, like just do calling on your ancestors and different levels of protection, like doing the things that you can do, search to protect yourself is always important. And leaning into that kind of that space, you know, or being able to sorry, I started reading Lex's comment and pouring into that for a second, but yeah, it's weird and creepy, and I feel like a couple things kind of happened at one time, and there is a like a, you know, psychic attacks are a real thing, but it's like just knowing that like this is, we live in a plane that is literally about like the like all these ancient, cross culturally, cross religiously, it's a battle of light and dark all the time, and how we meet in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, yeah, two things can be true simultaneously, like having a paranormal experience and also dealing with like a fake like V for Vendetta hacker in a Guy Fawkes mask, you know, like that that without knowing the messages or more of that context, but I do think it's weird. And I also like I would also, my next question to you would be like, what is the connection that you had to this person on Facebook? And also a reminder to like don't talk to people you don't know on Facebook Messenger that like get you cornered in a private, it's like the energetics of like they followed you home and they walked down the same alleyway and you're stuck in this alleyway. Like that's the energetic equivalent of like being on Facebook Messenger and chatting with somebody you don't know. So being cautious of that too. Isa. Your free will and agency is stronger than you think. Yeah, exactly. Always remember that when worries about hexes come up. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The more grounded you are in making decisions where you are, you know, being where your feet are and educating yourself about like what you can do to just even thinking about, okay, I'm protecting myself right now. That's helpful. But yeah, I just wonder, like, I think it was just like something that people do. And like, listen, like there's a way that you can go into HTML code on a website and you can type in the code to make somebody's website. It won't change it on their website per se, but it'll change it in the local, like on your computer. And you could write, like you could change my name to, I don't know, water bottle, you know, like it was something stupid, and like it'll only appear and send me a screenshot and be like, oh my god, Brenda, someone was on your website and it says water bottle all over the place, but it's like I go on my website and I don't see that. So like those kinds of things, like I think just being educated about that can help too. Oh, you're reading about your incarnation cross. I love that. Yay. Yeah, I think also like protection rituals may also be something for that would be I would love to hear more about that from you, Gabe, because I feel like it's a five line, like protection and keeping your like proper energetic hygiene of keeping yourself like protected also could is a really like naturally interwoven into the way that you exist in the world. So that I would love to hear more about that from you too. Just in my own selfish curiosity, but I know that other people would find of interest, I'm sure. Yay! Okay, cool. I love that. I love that. Like that's like be boundaried up. Yeah. Yeah, it was random ad. Methinks you. Yeah, I mean, they probably were able to like if they were okay. So this is what I would say. Like, so this is because I could work for the FBI if I wanted to, because the way that I think about things. I'm friendly, but I like not to equate that with naivete. But so someone said like, you're saying it was a random ad I never met. So A, like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to talk to anyone I don't know. I barely want to talk to people I do know. I'm an introvert. So, like, that alone, I'm like, don't add somebody you don't know. And they said, much like your trip to Florida, weren't ready for that, were you? So, what I think about is, like, if you are somebody that's also on Instagram, or when you post your location and your Instagram is public, and sometimes when it's private, your story will come up in the maps of whatever geographical location that you're in. So if they thought that you were attractive, or if it was somebody that's creepy that wants to get something from you, somebody will put two and two together and say, I'm going to copy the username of this person and see how it's tied to Facebook, and then I can find this person on Facebook because of where they tagged and said they were while they're on vacation. You'll never catch me posting when I'm on vacation until I'm home. Nobody knew that I got married until I'd already gotten married. You know? So like that, I would also think about like I you know, and someone like that who gets off on like they get off on getting a negative emotional response for somebody. So, you know, two things again could be true at the same time. Yeah, as a 5-1, there you go, Yisa. Yes, absolutely. That's perfect. I'm glad you guys were here at the same time. But yeah, Lex, oh my gosh, let me read for a second. So so your best friend's brother passed away. Was he a gamer? Because you said Peanut, and I immediately thought of like the little Peanut, like Mr. Peanut, or Burnt Peanut, but also like Burnt Peanut, and like the little top hat and the cane. Your best friend's brother. I was pregnant driving home, and he hit me in the back end on a motorcycle and died. Oh my god. I'm physically okay, and my daughter is 2 now and healthy, but it's been hard. Absolutely. I'm sure like there's a level of guilt. Yeah, and misplaced anger. I'm sorry, Lex. Yeah, it's like they didn't know you were the easiest target, unfortunately, even though it wasn't necessarily your fault. Like obviously you didn't go into driving with the intention of, you know, having your best friend's brother rear-end you and passing away. That's terrible. Oh, Billy. Yeah. It's so crazy. Did he have a Harley Davidson, or was it more of like a sports bike? It's like, I don't think that he feels like any type of way. It's like, it was just like, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Like, he feels very like laissez-faire. Like he doesn't feel that, he's not upset about it, you know? Yeah, I was bringing life into the world while he died. That happens a lot more than we imagine it to. Yeah, crotch rocket sports bike going 160 miles per hour. Yeah, it's funny because it's not funny, but what I heard that I actually didn't say out loud was that play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like that, it's that kind of like, it's like he, you know, what do you expect? You drive drunk, you speed. There was a messed up accident going into Manhattan. It was I think a Porsche that had caused that was pinball wizarding through cars. And you know, it's like you can't, there are certain actions that unfortunately have detrimental consequences, you know? And it's like there was a was he Spanish? Was he Mexican, I want to say? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stupid games, stupid prizes. Yeah. I'm cross streaming to YouTube for those of you who are just joining, so I'm just doing a little psychic read for Lex about her ex-best friend's brother. Yeah, I was gonna say, because it just, sometimes what I'll get when I'm reading for people is I'll think of people that I know in my personal life, and usually there's some sort of like cultural indicator or like what they do for business, something along those lines. That's so funny. I know, it's like the racially ambiguous, like my husband is that way too. No one really knows like what he is. um Yeah, it just, I feel like it's people like that live fast like that kind of, and it's interesting because I've been rewatching Mob Wives on on TV, and it was like this old show on VH1, if you're familiar, that was about like these women that like were the wives of some incarcerated men, some were like the daughters, and like they kind of like I mean, it's similar to some people who grow up in like some places that are a little bit rougher in the world, even in the US, where like there's an expectation. They're just such in survival mode all the time that that's when it feels like adrenaline junkie vibe, you know, and like they don't really see life the same way. Like it's interesting because I kind of equate it to, I just started skiing this winter, and I forgot that, like, you know, as an adult I'm much higher up from the ground, and I have more if I break my arm, like it's just annoying, you know. A very small town, I understand. Yeah, like it's like it interferes with everything else that I have to do as an adult, to, you know, for work, and, you know, if I wanted to go to the gym, you know, all those types of things. So it's like, but some people just don't have that fear for, yeah, balls to the wall. I say that a lot too. Yeah, balls to the wall. Yeah. And so I don't really, this is going to be a controversial thing to say, but I think that Charlie Kirk is an example of that. Like, it's, yeah, it's sad when somebody dies, but like if he believed and said what he was about, then like he's not mad that he died at the hands of gun violence, because that's what you expected, you know. He like a direct quote was like him expecting that like there were going to be, with people being allowed to have guns, that there were going to be like accidental gun deaths or something like that. Not a direct quote, but like I'm paraphrasing, but it's like I don't, there's a level of like sadness that's removed from a death like that, because they died for something that they believed in doing, of how they wanted to live. Does that make sense? Like, it's that like that type of, yeah, race health, exactly. Yes, exactly. So it's like, of course it's sad, but for anybody to take that anger out on you, is, I hope that you don't beat yourself up with that guilt. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Our actions always have consequences. You can say anything you want, but you can't control how other people are going to respond to it, you know? Like, that's what people have to be aware of, you know? I could walk around in New York City butt-ass naked telling everybody to go fuck themselves, but I have to be aware that I'm probably going to get arrested for public indecency. You know what I mean? Like, that's the, it sounds extreme, but like that happens to people probably every single day in New York City. That's awful. Yeah, and it's like, that's that small town, like, and small town, but also people who are just uneducated and how to regulate their emotions, and the people that don't know where to place their grief in a proper way, you know. There was a girl that I had worked with, and her brother died, and I just knew that he drove home drunk and he crashed his car and passed, and they couldn't cope with their son being perceived as somebody who would be stupid enough to drink and drive. And well, isn't it the consequences of my own actions? And you know, it's horrible all the way around, but I lack a certain like empathy for you know, it's kind of like I operate a lot of times like you get what you get, you don't get upset, you know. So it's like and I don't think that people on the other side, like once they pass that way, it's like they don't have that I don't believe in ghosts in the sense where like they like are sitting in the same place, like staying there all the time, that kind of thing. Yeah. I'm sure. You know why? Because what's fucked up about a situation like that is that, to read what I'm saying, what I'm reading over here, I felt like your best friend, ex-best friend, had a lot of terrible friends around her, and they weren't helping her grieve properly and feed into the drama because they love that something tragic happened, something that felt, oh, like they could get upset about, and we can talk about this together. That's the most interesting thing to happen to us. And people operate that way. You know, so it's like when you're somebody that doesn't operate that way, it's like unfathomable when that energy kind of smacks you in the face. And like it's small town USA vibes where like nothing else, you know, traumatic or interesting has happened in 85 years. It's like we see it in family dynamics. Hi ladies, welcome. Oh hi Kim, hello. It's that, yeah, there, the world right now, lots of people, exactly to your point, it's sick that they were hyped up about something so awful. It's why it feels good for people to cause discourse, because they don't know how to lean into getting the same high on a much cleaner supply. You know, it's like getting the same, like, and it's a lot of those tropes that we see in communities like that, right? Of like people who stay in relationships with people that aren't good for them because the drama and the highs and the lows within that relationship are what they know based on childhood. So they think that peace is boring, and they don't spend enough time to train their nervous system to get out of that. You know, people like drama. That's why the arts are so big. That's why music exists, to make you feel something, you know, and there's levels to escapism that, you know, as a Pisces, I love like healthy levels of escape, but like healthy levels of escape, you know, and people find weird ways to contort that energy in a fucked up way, for lack of a better way to say it. So I'm sorry that you were on the receiving end of that, and that's horrible. But it wasn't your fault. When someone's going 160 miles an hour in a motorcycle, you know, you can look, but like, what reaction time does that give you? You know, it's like flying like a speeding bullet. You know, so it's like I hope that you don't let, you know, the misguided energies of somebody else make you feel that about yourself. Yeah, people suck, but there's also people that, like us here, that know that like we believe that, like we're able to see the nuance in situations, you know? Yeah. Just like, it was a stupid, like it's literally, accidents happen. Like, it's stupid, and sometimes accidents cost people their lives. Yeah, death kind of seals the narrative, so we have to do with the sum of what their actions in life were. Yes, make do. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Having lived in New York City and seen my fair share of bear skin, yeah, absolutely. I was like, wait, why are we talking about that? I was like, oh yeah. But yeah, I was driving out to Long Island this October to go work an event with one of my clients, and I was right by, actually, it was in, I think it's Clifton, New Jersey. I was like by the the satin dolls, which is actually the bada bing from The Sopranos. And on the side, it must have just happened, but it was like the total top half of a car was peeled back like a can opener. No jaws of life, but it was like just cops coming the other way, blocking to like get to the accident. Definitely a fatality. And it's like, you know, I was driving into Long Island. I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. And so like this was like a post club, you know, activity. And I had another client recently. Yeah, awful. Another client recently whose brother passed. And I was like, like they said that their brother had passed, and I just kind of went into a psychic reading. And I was like, oh, but it was like his fault, you know? And it's always awkward for me to bring that up during a reading for people who, you don't know what level somebody is at with like admitting that, but it's like, oh, like it wasn't like, somebody didn't do this to you, you did this to yourself. And it's like I'm big on accountability, but it's so like, you know, I'm again balance beaming it, trying to figure out how to hold that conversation with integrity and care for all parties involved in somewhat of a healthily diplomatic sort of way. But yeah, I get play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like it helps us to be safer, you know? Like I don't know why people still do things like that, but I don't spend a lot of time with people who operate that way, you know? So my pool of I wanted to say applicants, but my pool of my experience hypotheses, my data pool is small, next to none, but I'm sorry. Thank you for sharing that and letting me sit with you through that. Yeah, they take it personally. It's so true. I was just doing a little intuitive psychic reading for Lex, who I'm cross-streamed to YouTube, Kim. So she had asked a question about her brother's friend that had passed away, who rear-ended her car going 160 miles per hour on a motorcycle. The last comment you said, yeah, you're welcome. Exceptional minds, like myself, not to brag, but there are high hopes for the upcoming generation. I agree with you. I'm excited. I'm always inspired by like younger, like college students and all that too. Yeah. Just the light stuff, Kim. Sorry you came in at such a heavy moment. Without context too. Can you see like big life changing decisions in the same way? Can you give me an example? Like if like can I like predictively, or like if a decision that somebody made is going to be like a good one for them? Like if somebody came to me and said like, oh, like I'm gonna have a baby, like that life-changing decision, and like in that moment, or it's like yeah, we're so I'm trying to understand like your question. I forget what I said because my brain I think was moving too fast. I'm sorry. Wait, let me try to break it down as you're typing. Can you see like big life-changing decisions the same way in the past tense? So like if people made a decision, like I can see why it led them to the right way or the wrong way. Oh yeah. I don't know. I feel like I didn't think that would ever have been something that we don't all do, right? Like, but I'm like, oh, you are the problem. Like that. It's like, oh, that kind. Yeah, got it. Yes, she was so gorgeous. I liked your post about her. She just recently passed. Right? Like it was just the anniversary, or well, it was the anniversary of her passing, I should say. Yeah, and if she was a well-known influencer, is like people pushing that? I don't have any Gate 18 placements for me, but I have the energy of a Gate 18 person. Yeah, it almost feels a little like jealousy, and someone got away with something they weren't supposed to get away with. Hi, Michelle. Hello. Nice to see you in my live. Hello. I'm usually not on this late, so this is perfect. Oh, I don't think that... I think I've never seen anyone act the way that she acts and also be a good person. It's creepy. But I'm also like, I just feel like there's so much like in the entertainment, government industry, and politics that like I don't even want to touch. Like I don't think that I can personally have enough of an impact, nor would I like truly like not care, but like I don't have the energy to do that and still live my life. I have bigger, if I was like alone and I wanted to live my life by myself in the woods and act a certain way, yes, but like as a married woman that is like has my husband and, you know, my family, my little furry son, like I don't if I didn't have a family, like those types of things, like I would live my life a little bit of a different way, if you know what I mean. But like I question everything, expect nothing is the best thing that I could say. Question everything you see always, not from paranoia, but to be like, I got my tools. I'm not walking around, you know, with the blicky up all the time, but like I've got it in my back pocket, sort of thing. That's how I operate. Gate 18 is Scorpio or Libra? I actually forget. Libra. Yeah, you're not invested because the ROI doesn't wash out. Exactly. It's the gate of correction. Like I'm very much a pruner. I think it probably has to do with a lot of my Capricorn, like my gate 54. Like I'm very much a trimming the fat. Like I have my judgments, but I wouldn't say that I'm judgmental, if that makes sense. Like, but I have like like my sense of justice is very like this. Why are we doing it this way? You know, like I'm somebody that's like has very obvious like stances on the way that I feel, while also like, but it's not just about like above the level of the traditional one that we feel like, what political party are you? I'm like, it's not about the party. It's like, we got a bigger, it's looking at this, not looking at this, right? Because when we do this, we don't see everything else that's happening in the exterior, which is the problem. We're not asking the better questions and educating ourselves around the dynamics about it all. Yeah, K54, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, it's really weird right now. It feels really weird. It's like we definitely are living in a time that no one could have predicted, you know, should have they tried. Or if they like, it's like we're taking it as it comes and doing what we can with the energy and the information that we have in front of us, you know. As somebody that cares about the state of the world, it's always a balance of figuring out what can I do within my power that is not going to negatively impact the lives of people around me. And it's really funny because I actually had kind of like a stand-in grandfather that was a neighbor of my grandmother's, and he was always like, you're gonna be a politician. And I was like, why would you say that? Like what do you mean by that? Because I'm not about, like, I can't deal with the fakeness of it all and like the posturing of it all, you know. But I don't know, I feel like that's kind of like a gate 18 energy that I have in my frequency, but I'm not like, a public servant. Thank you. I just like, I actually give a fuck even when people I know still don't give a fuck about me, if that makes sense. Like not to my detriment anymore though, post Saturn return. Which is like, 2 days ago. But no, I definitely had to learn how to like I think that some of the most gracious ways that we can be public servants, right, is like blooming where we're planted. And I don't need the validation of being the next president of the United States to feel like I did my good like civil duty, right? But yeah, bye guys, see you later. Have fun. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. I'm going to chaperone your internet communication. But you guys have fun. But yeah, listen, I mean, this is coming from somebody who's like felt like I rushed a lot of things. Like, there's every year has its own blessings and lessons, and the more that you lean into those, especially your nodal energies of your late 20s, I found that because I really geared myself mentally for doing the hard thing when they came about, it made my Saturn return much easier. It was still emotionally challenging. Thank you, beautiful. See you guys. But I didn't struggle like how I felt like the previous Saturn and Aquarius folks told us that we should have been afraid. But I'm also Saturn ruled, right? So like I'm Saturn ruled traditionally. I'm an Aquarius rising, so Saturn and Uranus are my chart rulers. Yeah, so for me, it's like you get rewarded when you do the hard thing, and I think that's also a bigger part of being willing to do the hard thing. We're all blooming even when some of us can't see it. Yeah, absolutely. Because I see it, it's like I see the potential in everybody, right? Like as a talent manager too. Cheers, yes. What do you say? What is it en français? I forget the word for cheers. Salut? Salut, we say sláinte in Ireland. That's cheers. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like in my Aquarian rising counterculture way that's like actually productive counterculture. It's like trying to find as much joy. Like I switched out my phone for an alarm clock that I got so I could wake up to an alarm clock, because I like, there's a specific feeling that I would get because of the way my parents' house was and where my room was in childhood. The top of my bed was over the archway of like our front door, and I would leave my window cracked at night. And so during the spring and the summer, I would wake up to the sound of my alarm clock and the morning doves and the breeze coming in from the window. And so the alarm clock like has me pull in, and this is so like Pisces retrograde, like, you know, like manifesting that energy. Or it's like, why when we see like if you guys seen those like scrapbooks style posting where it's like, you're in Greece for a day, pick your outfit, now pick what you're eating, now pick your activity. It's like that how we can infuse that into our day-to-day. And I think a lot of the counterculture that I'm referencing now is like, I am very much a believer in joy as a radical act. That's why it pisses people off when you don't sit in the shit with them, even if the shit is like I am aware that where I live right now, there's nothing that I can do without throwing myself into a position in an uneducated way for like what happened politically between the U.S. Today, right? If any of you guys have seen the news this morning, I have a friend that doesn't even know when she's gonna get home, flying home from India because of this, like because the airspace was closed, and like I'm allowed to have a good day today, even though those things are happening, and the internet doesn't always make us feel like we have a choice. But I know that like when I sit in all the things that are wrong in the world, I can't strategize to use my energy effectively. And so the nuance of that is important. And that's not me burying my head in the sand, right? I also, you know, am dealing with like the emotions tied to what I dealt with my family this year, my dad being sick. I also have my husband's grandparents who are in Cuba that I'll never meet them, right? I've met them via FaceTime one time. There are people that are stealing food out of their yards and they're older. His grandmother just fell, you know, like, there are like barriers to personal entry into like how I can, like, you know, I have clients that are from Iran, right? Like their families are, so if there was a way that I could be of more support to them, but it's like blooming where we're planted. And I think like I know that anyone who's a human with a soul has a heart to help where we can. It's the fact that we're seeing this kind of like and I know you guys understand the context in me saying like social justice warrior in like a performative activism sense of the way, where it's like because we're aware of everything, there's the expectation of people who are doing perceivably better to always be doing something about it. But the reason we're doing perceivably better is because we pick and choose when we know that we can have a healthy engagement with changing, right? And a lot of what's happening right now that we're seeing is like decades, years worth of buildup of conflict and stuff that we weren't even around to control before we were even born, that like is just like carrying on the baton of like generational beef that like we don't even have to be a part of, you know. And it depends on what conversation, like what avenue, you know, we're talking about, because obviously that could be applied in many different ways. But I think that as somebody who, you know, I'm a sensitive person, but I don't let my sensitivity will become a albatross or a gaping wound in my side, metaphorically, if I don't check it in the right ways. Yeah, domino effect. Thank you. Yeah. And I love your username is so perfect for this conversation with conscious living. But yeah, those are the things that I think about. Like I try to take my time to figure out how to put them into proper words where I feel like it can cause like curiosity of discussion, but we have to get out of, and I know that we're obviously not in those spaces, like no one's in that space here, but like that argumentative, like right for the jugular, like coming to the internet with gloves on kind of mentality. But you know, we do what we can to create our conscious corners of the world. But yeah, let me read. And if you can't function effectively, it ripples out to those you help, exactly, and who depend on you, exactly. So it's healthy for you to filter out that so you can function and not shut it out. Absolutely. Because I think that's what happens. It's like then a lot of people get into this point of analysis paralysis, and yeah, it's almost like a butterfly. Like when you say domino effect, it's like butterfly effect, but like the positive version of that, right? Where it's like, okay, a butterfly flapped its wings in the woods, and then it happened in, you know, XYZ. Yeah, really discernment. I love that. Yes, I had my artist friend that bought me. His name is Drew. He bought me a bracelet for my birthday one year that has the word discernment on it. Hi, fairy, welcome. But yeah, it's like I mean, there's probably a term for it, but it's like caring fatigue, you know, it's like hi Rupi. Like when you care so much, you get tired of being a good person, you know, when you're aware of the people who don't care about being good. You know, I think it's like, it's kind of reminds me of the stories of like, yes, of if you go to a mechanic and there's an electrical problem with your car, but all you see is the check engine light, and the mechanic can read. This is kind of similar to like an analogy of like the question that you just asked. It's like, and the mechanic knows that you don't know that you don't need a new engine. You're nervous because you don't have the money to pay for a new engine, right? And the mechanic who's educated in that field can see that you don't know what you're talking about. And so they have an opportunity to either sell you on a new engine and create some crazy finance plan to convince you to pay out of pocket for their business, or they can say, oh, we're just going to switch this, you know, plug in your battery that changes the screen so that the check engine light goes away because it was a misfire or whatever. And so, you know, people now, we see a little bit of a greater divide. Yeah, exactly. Gate 26 comment, exactly. To say, you know, do you want the good sleep, you know, business model, or do you want the, you know, I make bank capitalizing off of people's suffering business model? And not every business operates those ways, right? Like I think it's like, I don't need to be a billionaire in the with human design. You know what I mean? Like that's not my intention. I know that like people are capable of so much more than they give themselves credit for. And I also remember like being 22 and fresh out of school and looking around and not having parents that could parent me in the way that I knew that I needed, because I knew that that there were answers that I wasn't getting, and it felt like certain people around me had different things figured out in a way that I didn't. And the common denominator is that they just had parents that could help them, and I didn't. And I, remember kind of like these weird, like I knew the spiritual snake oil salesman before it became like we're talking about it the way that we talk about it now, but I knew that I didn't want to operate that way. So, so much of what you guys that have been with me for a while have heard me say is that I don't want to put my head down on the pillow at night knowing that I didn't, if I'm making a sale on something or if I've sold something to somebody, that I can't back up what it is that I'm doing, or that I want the exchange to feel good. And I was able to, like, it took me time to figure out like what the layers were to do that, and educating myself about like it's, and what I said in a video this like a week or so ago is it's not just about what I hope to get paid for. It's about what's a service that people actually need. And if you do any business classes, that's literally entrepreneurship 101, is like, what is the need that people have and how can you create a product or a service that fulfills that need? So you can kind of tell the people who are in the spiritual business lens who actually haven't had or taken the time to learn about like the fundamentals of business, because they think that they can go in and say, well, I want you 13 people in TikTok live to pay me 20 grand because I know that I deserve that. And so they do what they can to concoct these scenarios in which you feel pressured and make you feel bad about yourself for not wanting to pay $20,000 because they sit on this kind of like pedestal. But like that doesn't work. Like it's like that's the disillusionment in spiritual business spaces, is like not sell. It's not, I'm not here to, as a consumer, to stroke your ego. Just because you want to get paid 20 grand doesn't mean that like the trade-off is there. For regurgitated Pinterest, Instagram, free PDF downloads and a free fucking YouTube meditate. It's like and then they say, well, my time is worth $20,000 because I found these resources for this person. And it's like, but at that level, like that exchange is not a 20 grand exchange. It's like that's not, it's you want to, of course, get the transformation. You are paying for time in the saddle for people to do something. And there's things that I've learned for 10 years and taught people how to do it in 5 minutes. But I'm also aware that like, there are I could give you the whole outline for how to, make money and do what you need to do on social media. And there's always still people who aren't going to do it. Either they lack the confidence or, mentally. It's like, I'm not worried about that, aspect. But yeah, I know you've toughened up and got wiser because adaptations have forced you to go through. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that like I think I like to be living proof of something that I also needed, where it's like I could go through hard shit and it didn't make me cynical, and it didn't make me closed off to the belief of the good in the world. And I think that we've all teetered a very thin line, either currently or in this way. But yes, in the content field as well. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Hello, Eloise, welcome back. My little like rainbow here for you. The shapes are the chakra system. Are you familiar with your chakras, or have you heard of like Reiki or anything like that before? So like your throat chakra is that third square. This is your third eye, your crown, the top two triangles. I'll give you a moment to respond. But yeah. Very thin line. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're actually a big reason I feel so comfortable now revealing my scars and adapt. Yeah, absolutely. Of course. I mean, I don't look to exploit that. I have no personal gain from it just is. I have a visceral, grimy reaction to people who exploit people's pain. And there was somebody who, if you look up, Eloise, look up like the chakras, and it's basically these energy centers that we have in our body for how energy runs through them. It's an old Hindu discipline, and even old like Egyptian culture has a 9-centered system, but it's basically our energy, so our mind-body connection. I'll say something to you that I feel horrible. No, don't feel horrible. Don't feel bad. Yeah, absolutely. Well, like like that's like a who I am at my core is truly a teacher. So like I always want to pass the baton of whatever it is that I do in an effort to make people feel better, you know, because I didn't I'll explain that in a second. I didn't want to, like, there's a level of gatekeeping, I guess, or like there's a like levels of barrier to entry, but it's like I again wanting to be a positive presence and a teacher at my core. It's like, what can I do that helps other people truly? Because I know what it felt like to want to be a good person, but to not to be in a like in an environment where people were so defensive or afraid of other people stealing from them because they steal from other people, that like they couldn't give me what I needed, right? Like it's like there's levels to that. No, oh my god, you're so sweet. The photo was not my cat. Aw, no, don't apologize. I don't feel any type of way about that. If it looks like your cat and you didn't have a good picture yet, that's fine. You're so sweet. No. Aw, kitties are also hard to sit still. But no, don't feel bad about that. You're sweet for saying that. I appreciate your apology, but don't feel guilt. Yeah, being reciprocated and not be reciprocated the same way. Exactly. Yeah, reciprocity is so big for me. And the one, so I have this platform that's basically like the only type of like texting platforms were like spicy texting platforms. And another creator who I love, named Brown, you probably have seen her before. She does like these energetic house readings. Such a cool person, but I saw that she was using Pop Call and I was like, what is that? And basically it's a way where like if you guys have a question that you wanted to text me to like really go in on the details about, it's for $1 a message. You could send me any type of, yeah, I'm glad, I love that. You could send me any message for $1 on the phone. So that's why I said, like, I had somebody that asked me if I would do a reading for free, and I'm like, this is what I do for free. If you want to hang out with me here, right, like, this is the exchange, right? Like, this is where you get my freebies. Arguably, I think I say, like, a lot of things that, like, I forget about that, like, exist in this vacuum, but I like that about it, you know? But yeah, it was my low cost way to just be like, okay, you need something. I'm here to meet people where they're at, not to exploit them when they're in a problem. Yes, every message you send is $1, and you don't get charged until I respond. So if I ever, which I don't like, it's not like crazy like that where I won't see them, because I'm too type A. But you don't actually get charged until I respond to you. So it's not like you pay $1 and then like, oh, maybe she'll answer. But yeah. Yeah, literally, it's so true. Yes, healing. Oh, I love that. Yes, that's so great. Yeah, I feel that. My Uranus in Taurus is conjunct my South Node in the 4th house. Please do. I'm happy for you too. Yeah, I'm there whenever you need me. Oh, or all of Rugu. I know, well, because they're such aesthetic photos. I feel like such aesthetic photos are always like, people just share them so much on the internet that you never know who the original source is. It's so hard. But yeah, that's so frustrating. That's why all my photos are like pretty much aggressively myself, where people wouldn't, like, it would be weird because it's like, oh, you're not Brenna, who are you? Yeah, I know the Uranus opposition. I get a lot of folks that get readings with me that are in their Uranus opposition. And I just got somebody that has the opportunity to move back to their hometown, which is Kingston, Jamaica. And it was so funny because it's like so many people I look at and I'm like, what? Like, you are doubting yourself? I was like, there is no, it's like same, it's like, why is there any energy in your aura that's letting you be like, feeling like you have to be submissive, you know? Interesting as an Aqua. Okay, what was interesting as an Aqua rising? Because Pluto's going to be on my ascendant for the next, you know, in my first house in whole sign for the next 19 years. So it's like, this version of Brenna that you have right now, I'm like, I don't even know who I'll be like in. Oh yeah, there you go. Well, I am also an Aquarius rising and a manifesting generator, so that works out well for both of us. So I have professional and personal experience. I'm burned out and kind of fear networking. Any tips? You know, the discernment of focusing on the people that, thank you, that same for you after your opposition, even more discerning in who you spend time with truly. Hello. I, like, for example, I went to an event this weekend and I was like, oh, I'm not leaving the house for less than $250. Like, it's not worth it for me right now to drive anywhere unless I'm at least making that money. And $250 is like my fee for people who, if I'm doing an event, right? I pick and choose my battles because, like, I got a DM after I posted the pictures from my event in Philadelphia. I did a yoga wellness event at the Ritz-Carlton in Philly, and I got a DM from a woman who was like, oh, would you do a talk for us down in New Jersey and say, like, for a program that's called, like, Get Your Shit Together. And I was like, amazing, I love you. Like, I love you already just for that. And, like, to me, like, there's certain indicators, and I also have certain context clues which allow me to know how seriously somebody takes me, or how, if they are sleeping on me in any way. Because even though, like, I have a lot of street cred, there's still people who are lazy to not do their research and think that, like, oh, she's so sweet and open-hearted and young in this space, like, she must be doing things for free. And I'm like, no, I've been reading charts for 10 years. And yeah, I think that's the discernment, right? I think, like, when you're looking in that field, right, like, there's certain things. If somebody spells my name wrong or says my name wrong multiple times, you're done. My name is not hard to figure out, especially for my friends who have any kind of, like, different culturally specific names. If people give a fuck, they're gonna learn how to say your name. I always am aware of that. I think about, if people respect me and they're DMing me, if you're not following me, I'm not going to answer you. I don't know you from Adam. I have plenty of people that have been supporters of me for a long time. I have a Patreon to be responsible for. Like, you guys get that from me. Yeah, girl, it's so annoying. Those, like, I'm trying to think of what are some of my other, like, personal discernment tips that I use. Whenever somebody says, I'm really curious about that, you're info digging for free, pay me an hour and, like, we'll get this shit over with in an hour. Don't drag my, like, this shit out. I don't want to talk to people for that long. Networking always has, like, if you go to a networking event, generally speaking, it always, people who are already in your circle after a tower moment. So I cut them out really quickly, and I don't tell them what they did wrong if they were fishing for information and got access to me for free, unless they've explicitly asked me. If they were a piece of shit and, wasted a lot of my time, like, I literally, like, there are times where I'm like, well, if you want to meet with me for $2,000, that is the energetic cost in a capitalist society that would be worth it for me to have a 15-minute conversation with you. Usually that nips shit in the bud really quickly. I'm not, like, a blaster all over the internet type of person. Like, I don't care to be my whole goal is to not be associated with people like that. So I'm not going to come onto the internet and, like, blast their shit online like that. Because then I just get I don't want to be known for the scandal, There's plenty of scandalous things I could have been known for, but, like, that's not what I'm interested in. Need to know basis, time and place, right? It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It's just, like, is this person worthy of being associated with my name? Which is true. Like, I've gotten to that point. Yeah, I get that. So I would look at it from the context of, like, is this person truly capable of hearing what I have to say? I know that for most times, like, listen, Pisces, I get it. Like, most people don't care to learn about what they did wrong or don't see anything wrong with their behavior. So it's like, I have people that pay me to dissect what it is that they feel like is going wrong for them. And that's where that energy for me goes. Right? Like, it's training energy to go in the funnel that you need it to go through. And I don't mean necessarily a sales funnel, but it's, like, funneling it in the right areas so that I can remain, like, I was going to get off an hour ago and I was like, oh, I actually have another hour because we're having good conversation. So I'll give that now, but I pick and choose my spots. Now, if somebody, DMs me, to do something for free at 3:00 in the morning, I'm not going to answer that. Like, it's like, this was your time. I'm sorry you weren't here. I'll be back on here next Saturday. Join me on YouTube. Like, there are other ways to access me if you're broke, well, you know, I get it, I've been there. But it's like, what, like, kind of putting people into these buckets in your life with how they address your energy, because like givers have to have boundaries because takers don't have any. Yeah, it's challenging. And listen, we learn boundaries through experience. You know, listen, as a manifesting generator and a Virgo Chiron and a 1-3, there have been many times with a fuck ton of fixed placements. Like, I have tried to control every sort of outcome that would happen in the future. And that only led me to not being able to really be where my feet are and like learn to have like a momentary reaction. You know, it's like I had to get good at clocking it, you know, in the moment where I'm like, Benny's playing with my candy wrapper. His little furry booty. But for me, you know, it's like, you have to get good at assessing it in real time, if that makes sense, but that takes time of experience. I'm like, oh, I didn't like the way that I felt. I'm not gonna let that happen again. That's Toddler and a Tiara. Exactly. I love that. Wait, there's actually a girl named Brenna from Toddlers and Tiaras, which is so funny. She was like on TLC. That's funny you said that. But yeah, I think like you just have to care enough about yourself to know that like literally we're all gonna die one day. And like, do I want to spend my last days on earth helping somebody that I'm going to give information from about how they should divorce their husband, and then blames me for making them feel bad things about their husband when they don't fucking get divorced because they're too bitch made to do it? Like, literally, like that. I know that sounds like so stupid, but those are literally conversations that I have ended friendships over, and relationships over in my inner circle, because I'm like, you came to me for real advice, you asked for this, and then you got mad at me. But like, how fragile are, like, I don't want somebody in my life, in my inner circle, that's that fragile, or whose sense of self is that fractured. Because a person who doesn't have a sense of who they are is a dangerous person to have in your inner circle when you are somebody that knows who you are. So it's like, I have spent a long time, right? Like, I've compared myself. I had an ED. I had a lot of shit. You know, it's like, it's this energy comes from just like going through and being dragged through an energy that I don't wish upon other people, to get to this point of like kind ruthlessness. And like, we're Aquarius risings, like we're meant to be a little cold. Like, it just is, it's okay that not everybody gets the warmth of that, because you have to earn it, you know what I mean? And it's not in like a I struggled so you have to sort of way, but like you don't know my struggle and you don't understand my struggle, so how can you have nothing to compare it to. Like, you don't have that level of like, I literally ghosted one of my old bosses because I was not getting paid insurance. She was paying me $20 an hour under the table, somewhat. Like, I still paid taxes on it, but she wasn't taking taxes out, so whatever that was after taxes. And she was a generational millionaire with a trust fund whose kids had trust funds of $2,000 a month, paperwork that I found while working in her office. And I'll look back in a second. I was like, I don't give a fuck that a rock went through the window as you were repairing the glass in a house that was $1.5 million down the street from Bon Jovi's house, right? That's where I was working at the time. And lack any kind of awareness of like, I'm struggling. Knew what I was going through with my family at the time because I didn't have that compartmentalization. Like, we were, ass and elbow, like next to each other, like right next to each other, in a studio space. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I have no, like, I'm done. I was like, that's a person that like, I overstayed my welcome in this position. I'm not going to explain myself to somebody who has no awareness that of like, they've been so like, it's a privilege thing, but also like, it's to say just that it's privilege is to bastardize like the layers of that, right? So it's like, I knew that like, that was somebody like I'm an Aquarius Mars too. Once I see it, I'm like, gotta go. Like, I cannot be around, especially now that I've like been married, and in my first year of marriage, the amount of women that have tried to befriend me that are in fucked up marriages. I'm like, yeah, I went through that with one of my ex besties who did end up getting a divorce and couldn't have like a conversation about it and blamed me for it, a variation of it at least, like, I'm not repeating that again, you know. But it's what happens is that we get tested multiple different times to test our spiritual resolve and say, like, are you going to make the same mistake twice, right? There was somebody before my husband that wanted to be in a more serious relationship with me. And I'm like, I don't care that you spend $3,000 on your BMW when the driveway that it sits in is your own fucking parents' house. You know, I'm not going into, like, there's a level of things that I knew, like, for a husband, you know, when it comes to boundaries and getting married, that, like, I'm not impressed by that if somebody hasn't had to have the same level of survival skills that I've had to have. That's another barrier to entry for who is going to marry me, you know? So, like, those, you know, I've in a lot of 11th hours in my life have been very lucky to get out of some shady relationships and situations that really could have fucked me up. But I was willing to do the hard thing that I had to do that was really emotionally difficult and mentally draining, because I knew, like you do at your core, that you deserve better than what you had or what you were getting. So yeah, exactly. I'm like, made the hard left last minute. Yeah. That's so cute. Oh, I'm so glad. I love that. Enjoy. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, it's exactly marriages. I wish you a very blessed union. Aw, I hope you're enjoying. You're so sweet. Yeah. Oh, I understand. That's so cute. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Like, this is the real shit that I'm like, there are people that will sit here and be like, thank you, Conscious Living. I know I just met you, but I'd be happy to hop on a 1-hour discovery call. But, like, it's so hard to, in a spiritual discipline, like, you pick your spots, right? So it's like, I have no, like, this is what my people need from me right now. I know I want to be on a live right now. This just happens to be what we're talking about. And the real ones that really need it, you know what I mean? It's like that. It's like, that's a authentic relationship building, not like a sleazy snake oil salesman. Yeah, no, you're fine. Thank you. It was nice to connect with you. But you know, it's like, you know, the energy. It's like the people that abuse the people that abuse the aspects of social media, or like just the lack of reciprocity or kindness, you know. Spiritual meaning of a spider? I honestly always Google that because I'm not good with animal totems. Oh, Ryan, I feel like that may be a question you could answer. Here for people like your hubby who meet you and is 100%. Do you tend to butt heads with people whose placements fall on your first? No. Hi, Mystical Rebel. How are you? It's so funny. We're having such a conversation that, and just so you know, guys, Mystical Rebel is not to be confused with Mystical Rebels. Mystical Rebel is the Antichrist to Mystical Rebels. Just the exact opposite kind of energy. I need to make that clear distinction because Joe is a real one. But we were talking about like authenticity in the spiritual space and people not forcing you to pay $10,000 for a question for 30 seconds that could be like more authentically answered. Oh, E-Shell. Oh, Mayan association. I always see spiders as a good omen. Like, I have so much Scorpio that I'm like, it's so like, I actually have spiders that I keep in the corners of my office and like clean up the little cobweb spider webs and anything that could be dirty. Like, I'm like, you know, like that type of person. But like, and it's funny because my husband did the same thing, which may sound creepy to some people, but I'm like, I don't mind. Like, as long as there's not like 85 spider babies running around, you know, I'll put them outside when it gets warmer, or even now it's warming up. But yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Kai, go ahead. Yeah, do I tend to I don't butt heads with people in my first house. Heavily Taurus dominant people, because it's my south node. It's like, I don't want to just hang out for 85 years. Like, I gotta go. Like, you know, there's like one of my husband's close college friends is a Taurus sun. And the first time that I met her, she literally only talked about herself. And I was like, this is like dialogue, like we're like older now. Like, this isn't like college. Like, I don't care about your best friend who changed her name to America. Like, it was like all that stuff. And she apologized for it later and we're fine, you know, but it was like that. I'm like, and the point is like, why are we having this conversation? I don't talk to people if I don't try to find something that's mutually beneficial. I'd rather just talk to myself, like that kind of energy. Oh, that's interesting. But well, a Taurus moon person, I'm like, you're my best friend that I'm gonna go out to eat with. But as long as we know, like, I'm going in with the intention, I feel like and that just comes with knowing your personal preferences. But like, I'm gonna go out to eat with my Taurus moon bestie, right? Like, you all know the good places to eat, but I'm not gonna go to, like, I don't want to talk just for the sake of talking. It's like we're talking about something that's mutually beneficial for all of us. I get to practice what I know and share it with people who are interested and benefit from what I've read, Pisces Saturn in the 11th house would be, I don't know what you mean by V11. Maybe that was a typo, but 11th house is about like our social groups, not losing yourself within your friendships. Because if you are a Capricorn rising and you just finished your Saturn return in Western astrology, your Saturn would be in your 3rd house in whole sign. So I don't know if you're asking, like, but 11th house is about like other people, your group dynamics, different social groups you're a part of, learning that not everybody has to serve a purpose for you. Like, I'm a person that on the internet, and I connect with you guys. But it's not like it's like it depends on. Oh, is the 7th house? What's the 3rd house? Or I always do that. I think it's watery. What's the 3rd house? It's what makes Capricorn risings whiny crybabies if you don't check yourself. That's so I associate it with Pisces, but it would be Capricorn. If Capricorn's the 1st house, after Capricorn season comes Aquarius. Wait, am I doing it right? Yeah. My moon just makes me extra sensitive to the encounter. That makes sense. Oh, Goddess of Weaving. I love that. Let me just look up a Capricorn rising chart real quick because now I'm getting confused. It's also very Mercury retrograde. I'm like, wait, what? This is like what I'm talking about. Like, what, like, can you just use the actual 7th house? I'm like, I can't decode the Roman numeral that quickly either. I'm like, what is it? Just give it to me straight. Capricorn rising chart. After talking for 3 hours, I don't have all the visuals memorized for every person's rising sign. Hi, David. And all of the chart configurations. Yeah, oh my god, yeah. So, as a Capricorn rising, Cancer would be your 7th house in whole sign. So I'm wondering if is this maybe I focus on Western astrology, not any other type of astrology. So if it's a configuration of like the nakshatras or sidereal, I don't know if that differs a little bit. Because from what I see, as a Capricorn rising, yeah, Pisces is your 3rd house. Yeah. Yeah, so as a Cancer sun. So anytime somebody has opposing sister signs as their Cap sun, like if you have your Virgo sun, Pisces rising, Cancer sun, Cap rising, how you see yourself and how other people see you tend to be more drastically different than the other person. So your sun is in the 7th house, but your Saturn is in the 3rd house as a Pisces in whole sign. It's going to depend on the degree of your rising. But yeah, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, it goes in order. So your it literally, unironically in this moment, is literally like working on communication when Saturn's in the 3rd house. Your Saturn rules, right? So your chart ruler as a Capricorn rising is in the 3rd house. So it's like communication, dialogue, like figuring out how to connect with other people, education, early education, not being afraid to learn something new. Those are all things that we could see. It's also Mercury retrograde right now, so I'm living in all the nuances of all of that. Yes, reason your cap set. Yes, they know. It's like when the attention is off of you, like is okay. So the person that, like, before my husband, Capricorn rising, Leo sun. And I was like, yeah, no. Like, for me, it was too much like because I'm also Saturn ruled traditionally as an Aquarius rising. A lot of the times I feel like I do what a Capricorn rising is supposed to do. And I'm like, you have the same energy. Like, you have the same rule book. You face the same problems. Like, why are we not? There's a clear answer here. Like, it's A or B, black or white, yes or no. You know, you're broke, get a job. You know, you want to be self-employed, put a website together. Like, there are very obvious like things there. So yeah, so don't take that personally. I'm speaking from personal experience, Kai. But yeah, I went on lives and been talking with people and overcoming my social anxiety. I love that. Yes, it's being disciplined. And I think like finding like what the root of your social anxiety has been. And I think that I used to have social anxiety too. I was so insecure about the way that I looked. Like there's a lot of different things. So it's like, for me, we're all just people at the end of the day that want the same things for ourselves and our family. We want to, be able to make a living doing what we enjoy. We want to be able to, take care of a family, even if that family is just ourselves and our furry cat, it's like, and once you like start to, I want you to go to my reposts on my page, and I want you to look at, there's a picture, I think Obama's on the cover, and it's Obama talking. And he says how, you go to these fancy dinners and you see these people with these fancy titles. And he says words to the effect of how I describe it as like, people are largely unimpressive. And sometimes like it was just luck that got people, like think of like the Kennedys, like the kids in that family, just won the lottery, or people that like happen to be born in places of privilege, but that doesn't mean that they feel privileged. It's like, so there's also a quote that I like to use that's, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. And the more that you know about yourself and what makes you feel confident, and knowing that you're a good person, no matter how convinced somebody is to tell you that you're not, or tell you something different about you, they don't matter. Like, it's like, the more you stand up for yourself, and a lot of Capricorn risings too, I will say, like, usually you have like very oppressive caregivers, families of origin, who don't really give you much room for self-expression. So you learn to, no, sorry, Nini, uneducated parents of Capricorn rising children, but like, it can be that a lot of your life was, yeah, I'm happy to, a lot of your life you've been made to feel more like a burden than a blessing. And that sucks. And I understand what that feels like. And it's learning that just because somebody didn't see your value or see your worth doesn't mean that you don't have any. It just means those people are void of feeling and ignorant, and find the people that do. So it's like, finding that, and my personal placements with our synastry sit in your third house. So a lot of times for Capricorn risings, I can put into words things that have been hard for you to articulate. So any languaging that I'm using, please feel free to use to advocate for yourself or to think about. I'm also dual streaming this to YouTube right now. So my video from today, February 28th, we're at the 3 hour and 27 minute mark now. It's probably 3 hours and 20 minutes when we started chatting, roughly. So if you need to listen to it again and again, please do. And listen, if you're an introvert or you're somebody who doesn't like to talk in front of large groups of people, we're not in school. Like, the older we get, like, you don't have to take public speaking because it's required if you're not somebody who likes to publicly speak. So it's not, yeah, I'm an introvert too. Like, I'm social now, but I'm social with a purpose, right? Like, I will trip over my words if I'm trying to force myself to be extroverted when I'm really tired and I don't feel like talking to anybody. So like, it's like solitude is normal, like you don't have to, just because when we see people that have large groups of friends, I say this to people who are like thinking about social dynamics or feel like maybe alone in some way. Every large group of friends that I ever had the displeasure of meeting all fucking hate each other. It's like, who do I want to be there for my bridal shower, You know, it's like, it's not, it's literally for like social metrics, like an episode of Black Mirror. I've never met a large group of friends that has truly not talk shit about each other behind each other's backs. So don't, like, I have many friends, but my friends are from like kind of like Pokemon, that we've collected each other from all different walks of life. I have, you know, my best friend, one of my best friends from college that lives in Brooklyn, that never met my other best friend that I've known from middle school that lives in North Carolina. Like, they literally are so geographically different. So it's like, I also, you know, I'm not dissuading you from overcoming social anxiety, but I also encourage you to look at the internal identity that you have to it. And like, is it truly that you're like introverted and like like you've hit that precipice where you're like, okay, there's a variation of this that feels problematic, but also like, none of my friends I'm texting every single day. Oh, the one I made cheated on his wife. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's crazy. I'm so sorry. Yeah, and that's like, okay, so yeah, exactly. Say goodbye. I mean, honestly, I see that as a blessing. Because if they're gonna treat their wife like that, what does that say about who they are to you as a friend? You know? And I would encourage you to think about like other friendships. Like, a lot of the friendships that and the close friends that I've had this year have been people that I've known for a long time, that like we just lost touch because life, and we went to different high schools or whatever, and I came into contact with again. So, you know, I was okay to like go back to those friendships because it wasn't like anything necessarily bad happened. Although for one of my friends that I just reconnected with, that I was texting with yesterday, we had a falling out because I was so upset because I've known him for a long time, and he forgot to invite me to his wedding. And what I didn't know at the time was that, and another one of our like acquaintances that they didn't even like got invited, and that's how I found out that they were doing like a wedding reception. And you know, they got married really young, comparatively, and it was like basically a misunderstanding of like, they thought I was invited by their family. Their parents rushed for them to have a celebration for the optics of how it looked. Like, you know, it's like, so I also feel like there are potentially people from your past that know, like, when you're kids with somebody, that's a bond that cannot be created in adult friendships. That's really special and sacred. Like, you can have good friendships as adults, but I don't know, that just feels important for me to say, like, anybody from your childhood that you wish, that's a beneficial part of Mercury retrograde, right? Going back about who are the people that you maybe do want to reconnect with that were actually like good people, or people that you were kids together with. And I think like like finding somebody that you know, and this is a great way also to help, obviously, because it's like a niche way that like you can find people that are interested in the same things that you're interested in, and now we have a shared common subject to talk about, and something that's of interest mutually to all of us that are here. So it's like, when you are looking to meet people, find something that you can do that's an activity that you enjoy. Or like, I was just saying, I just took a skiing lesson for the first time, and I met people that way, that like, it was just like, oh, they're just excited that somebody took a lesson and cared to learn something new. It didn't matter. I have a huge like bruise right here on my shin from falling the other day. But it didn't matter that like they saw me doing something new, or like I didn't know what I was doing, because like I was taking a lesson. Like, the expectation is that I don't know what I'm doing. But we also didn't have to be worried about like, what do you do for a living, like Rana as an individual or Kai as an individual. So I think that also is kind of like a and it's so funny because one of the people that took me skiing for the first time had like they're like, basically in a weird way, Kai is the name of one of their friends, like in family friends. So it's funny that like same name too. We're also connected more than we think. But yeah, I think like it's okay that your circle is smaller, and it's okay that people in your circle aren't even necessarily connected. And like, adult friendships are much different than how we think societally expects us to have our friendships. Like, my dad was from Brooklyn, and like, it's like, oh, you're in the neighborhood, because like everyone lives like on top of each other. But like now, even in apartment buildings, like when I lived in my first apartment, I didn't even know who my downstairs neighbor was. You know, like it's just a different world that we live in now. So it's like it takes time to kind of figure out like, okay, and maybe you have like a friend that you just go to the gym with, or a friend that you know talk about astrology with, but and anyone who's in anything like sort of a networking group or anything that you do in person or like meetup, I think of, which is I think people still use. There's a lot of like great, like if you're looking to do in-person stuff, like looking at like niche Facebook pages still. Hi Haley. There's a lot of places like on Facebook, you know, niche Facebook places if you want to go in person. But, you know, there's always people that are looking to connect, and nobody's going to a networking event like that's a general networking event. Business networking events are a little bit different. You know, people are going with the intention to do the same thing, which is meeting new people, because like they haven't been surrounded by people that they enjoy. So let me know if there's anything else off of that you have questions, comments, curiosities about. But yeah, that's the few cliff notes I can think to give you right now. I feel like we also get more community minded again as we older. I agree. You know, I think about that, like even, you know, I know my neighbors now. Yeah, it's just heavy to deal. I have to overcome. Absolutely. And I think, hi, I love the olive. I think it's like, you're grieving the loss of a relationship that was important, you know, and that doesn't, it's like people don't teach men how to do that, you know, like no, definitely not masculine energies. No, yeah. Listen, there is rarely a live that I have gotten off and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said it like that. And I've been going live for 3.5 years, and I'm like, oh, damn, I probably could have said that different, or like, oh, I messed up that word, or oh, I didn't, you know, like, but people don't really care, you know? But yeah, I love olives too. Because it's the intention, it's the energy behind it. You know, and I think that, like, people that are worth knowing, and a lot of people are more understanding than you give them credit for. I keep going. The best thing I can do is go back to skiing, because we were with my husband and I were with his friend Trina, that I have now become friends with because of him. And I was so mad. Like, skiing is like such a uniquely frustrating experience, but it was nice because like I just wanted to challenge myself in doing something new that was going to be difficult. And I was like, I like ripped off my ski and like threw it into the side of the mountain because I was like so pissed that I couldn't stand up. And then I got poles and it was fine. They don't teach you skiing with like the poles first, which is the whole thing I didn't know. And I was like, I'm sorry, like I have such a bad fucking attitude right now. Like I'm just so annoyed. Like my body hurts. Like I have bruises. Like, and she was like, no, like and it was nice because like I know her, you know, for 5 years now, but I didn't know her at that level. And that builds a level of intimacy in platonic relationships too, where it's like people in your close friendships get to see all sides of you. That builds a level of trust there as well. So thank you, Orion. That is helpful. So I also think that like being seen trying is like not cringe, you know, like everyone wants to think that is. And you and I are the same age, so like we're like the millennial generation. That like people around it's just we're in that weird territory where it's like people are either getting married or divorced, having their kids, you know, it's like oh, that's so cute. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for the ice cream. You know, it's like we're figuring out what does friendship really look like for us. Like I mentioned earlier, or I don't know if I cut myself off, but I was like, I don't have friends that are like, I don't text with my friends all day. I'm not a texter. I don't like to live in my phone like that. I'm on my phone already. It'll be like 3.5 hours. It's already 3.5 hours we've been talking to each other. I use it so much for work that like, I talked to my friends earlier today. Okay, Ryan, I'll talk to you in a few days. You know, I'll see you in March when you're here in a couple weeks. Like, it's like identifying what that means. But yeah, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with you socially. Yeah, and that's like that like 30 is old, and now I'm like, oh my god, I thank fucking god I'm 30, because I feel at 30 what people were telling me I was supposed to feel like at 18 years old. But I feel the most that I have been now, because I know what I like, I know what I don't like, I know the type of people I want to associate with. I don't want to be around somebody that's a cheater. Like, you know, if you have your relationship and that's your thing, great, but it's like the sneaking around, like, I don't, like, grow up. Like, this is not like, you're not on reality TV, like you're ruining your life for free is weird, you know? At least if you're gonna get paid for it, that's fine. But yeah, no time limit. And I feel like it's it's there's a quote that they say where it's like he died at 85, but he stopped living at 30. You know, like it's some variation of that. Yeah, 42 to 22, exactly. And like I would encourage you to consider being somebody that doesn't put a time limit on your life, because that's a way to age yourself very quickly, you know, and this is speaking from somebody who's the same age, right? So it's like I am glad that there's always new people that I can meet in different areas. And I think like closing off your heart completely to being cautiously optimistic about the future. You have areas or people that you know you can have boundaries with, but don't think that that means that good people don't exist in other places. I've met really great people this year through this portal and others in real life that have given me hope about the state of the world again. And you know, it's good to be, cautiously optimistic, but it's like the timing is so irrelevant. It's like you think of some people who meet their soulmates at like 60, or, you know, I think of it like the older generations where, you know, their first love got drafted into war and they ended up on different sides of the world and they married other couples and then they refound each other after their spouses died and they got married and lived the last 10 years of their lives happily ever after. Like it's, as Saturn ruled people, we tend to reap the rewards of life later on. I feel the best that I have physically, mentally at 32, you know, where some people you look at and you're like, that's a rough 32 because your energy's bad. But yeah, exactly. It's so true. But don't age yourself before you're truly old. But I think it's leading with an open heart and grieving. It's like the grieving is a verb is one of the things that I started this live with. And it's important to know that, you know, you can allow yourself to be upset about the loss of your friendship, but, you know, it's like that leaves room for somebody so much better to come and take their place. And what, you know, what if there's any hobbies that you have, if you like, I don't know, like my husband loves gaming and Pokemon and like bonds with his friends over that, you know, like, and I think it's like, whatever it is that you enjoy, like don't cheat yourself because you feel like you're too old to allow yourself to enjoy that. Excuse me. Hi, Hippie. Yeah, that would be my words to you too. I want to learn something new, like a new hobby every single year. If I wake up 10 years from now and decide, yeah, I want to be a lawyer, I'm not going to cheat myself of going to law school because I too feel old to go to law school. Because the accomplishment of knowing that I didn't tell myself that, oh, well, I didn't go to law school at 20, but I can go to law school at 40 and be more educated in my approach, like I will allow myself to do that. Courage and Cowardly Dog, I love that. Mechanics, I love that. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Like those are things that like, and I feel like in I don't know what variation, like self-mechanics, because I know mechanics is a vocabulary word we use in human design, so I don't know if you mean like actual mechanics, like cars and things like that, but like they're like car communities, car clubs, like shared common interest. There's always going to be assholes everywhere. Like there's always the people that are like the annoying people as a part of every group. Oh, I love that. Yes. Aw. Yeah, and this Mercury retrograde is in 22 degrees. But yeah, like go to like a woodworking shop or like, you know, like whatever, like things like that where it's like there's a shared common interest of people who care enough to invest in themselves to allow themselves to know that life is more than work, death, and taxes. And they allow themselves to pursue things. That's what makes people like more well-rounded, like being a carpenter, and like find people that are like, I would guarantee you that there's like a Reddit thread or a Facebook group closer than you think, even if it's not closer, that you can connect with, where it's like weird shit I made as a carpenter. And like that's what you bond over, and then you end up meeting somebody great that happens to live 2 hours, and it's like meeting your internet friend, you know, or like somebody that like only knew your gamer tag as a kid growing up, and then you meet them, you know, 10 years later down the line. But it's like, I think like not like because the world has taught you to feel like you have to be narrow-minded doesn't mean that you can't, you know, flick off the blinders. It's like it can be self-induced instead of making sure that you open up your perspective a little bit more on who you want to surround yourself with too. But it's like good people like that exist, you know. It's just a matter of like we have other things that divide our time, whereas like when we're in school, you know, if you have parents that are able, you don't have to the stress of figuring out how you're going to keep a roof over your head as a kid. Really your only responsibilities are bringing, you know, making new friends and, you know, going to school. So you have time for that. Yeah, thank you. I'm a Pisces. I feel 480 and 32 all at the same time. So I just I'm a data collector in that way. So I'm happy to share and through life experience. Like I've been there. So, but on that note, with lucky number 13 at 444, I'm gonna head out for the rest of the evening. It is my birthday weekend eve. So I'm going to be celebrating throughout the weekend, and I may hop on Monday afternoon to YouTube, but I'm not sure yet. In between, I have a couple self-care things that I'll be doing on my day. So thank you so much. Yeah, 13, thank you so much, you guys. It was nice to spend this afternoon with you. I'm glad we got to spend some more time together. I'll be back next Saturday. Thank you. I'll be back next Saturday for Human Design Hotline again, so I'll be doing a new reading like this. But throughout the week, I'm on live on YouTube from 1 to 3. I did a cooking live. Like it's just kind of been like my husband has coined it my Renaissance. So it's been my little personal Renaissance where I'm just like allowing myself to try different things and explore, you know, little different levels of tech in a new way. So if you want to join me over there, that's another portal for us to chat during the week. So thank you. I will. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you over here. I'll see you next Saturday. And if you're on YouTube, I'll see you on Monday, but maybe Tuesday. Okay. I will see you guys on YouTube. I think you guys peaced out, but